The candle flames at our table danced like they were celebrating something. 20 years of marriage, maybe. Or just another Saturday night at Marcel's, the kind of place near the White House where lobbyists take senators and husbands take wives when they're trying to remember why they got married in the first place. Amelia looked beautiful. She always did when she was about to destroy something. Mason. She set down her wine glass with the kind of precision that made my chest tighten. I need to tell you something. The restaurant hummed around us silverware on plates, murmured conversations about policy and politics, the usual DC soundtrack. I'd chosen this place because she loved it. The exposed brick, the dim lighting, the way it made everyone look like they belonged in a movie about powerful people making powerful decisions. "I'm leaving," she said, just like that. No build-up, no tears, no dramatic pause. "Tonight, I'm going to Logan's." The words hit me like a systems crash, everything freezing, then going dark. I stared at her lipstick print on the wine glass, perfect and red and already fading. "Logan." I tested the name, felt it crack between my teeth. "Your colleague Logan." "He's more than that." She folded her napkin, placed it beside her untouched salmon. "We're in love, Mason. Real love. The kind where you choose happiness instead of just existing. 20 years. I did the math automatically, the way I calculated server loads and backup schedules. 7,300 days. Give or take. 2 kids. 1 mortgage. Paid off last spring. We'd celebrated with champagne on the back deck, talking about Sophie's college plans, Caleb's Little League season. "How long?" My voice came out steady. Professional. Like I was debugging code instead of watching my life implode. "Does it matter?" She touched her new necklace silver. Delicate. Nothing I'd bought her. "I'm 47 years old, Mason. I've spent half my life in that house, cooking dinners, attending PTA meetings, pretending that routine equals happiness." 37, I corrected. "You're 37. She smiled then, sad and distant. "See? You still think facts matter more than feelings." The waiter approached, probably to ask about dessert. I waved him off with the kind of gesture you learn in DC, polite but final. Don't interrupt the explosion. "The kids will be fine." She leaned forward and I caught a whiff of new perfume. Not the lavender she'd worn for 15 years. Something sharp, expensive, chosen by someone else. Children adapt. They're resilient. Everyone says so. Everyone. I pushed my water glass an inch to the left, then back. A habit from debugging small movements to keep the hands busy while the mind races. "Is that what Logan says?" Her jaw tightened. "Don't make this ugly, Mason. We're both adults. We can do this with dignity." Dignity. Like there was dignity in blowing up your family on a random Saturday night in June. Like there was dignity in the way she'd already made her decision, packed her bags, chosen her exit while I was still catching up to the fact that there was a problem to debug in the first place. I thought about this morning, how she'd made coffee in our old percolator, the one that gurgled and spit but made the kitchen smell like home, how she'd sat in her reading chair, the green one by the window with the newspaper, commenting on the humidity, how normal it had all been, how perfectly, terrifyingly normal. The book club. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Thursday nights. That's when, don't. She stood, smoothing her dress. A new dress, I realized. Black, expensive, nothing like the comfortable clothes she wore around the house. "I won't sit here and be interrogated. I've made my decision. I'm choosing to be happy." "And us? 20 years, that's just what? A bug in the code? Something to patch and forget?" She picked up her purse, also new, I noticed. How many new things had I missed? How many red flags had I filled away as system noise? "I'll get my things tomorrow. Harper will come with me." She paused, looking down at me, still sitting there like a fool, surrounded by the wreckage she was walking away from. "I'm sorry, Mason, but I can't keep living a life that looks perfect on the outside and feels empty on the inside. I need more than your routines and your schedules and your steadiness." She left. Just turned and walked out, heels clicking on the hardwood, leaving me with the check and the curious stares of other diners who'd witnessed something crack in real time. The waiter circled back, nervous. "Sir, can I—" "Just the check." I pulled out my wallet, the leather worn soft from years in my back pocket. Inside, a photo of all four of us at the beach last summer. Sophie making bunny ears behind Caleb's head. Amelia laughing, squinting in the sun. Me, steady as always, arm around my wife. My ex-wife, I corrected myself. Or soon Toby. Another calculation to make. The drive home took 17 minutes. I counted them, focused on the numbers instead of the way my chest felt like someone had reached in and rewired everything wrong. The house sat dark except for the porch light, the one on a timer, reliable as sunrise. Inside, evidence of our life covered every surface. Sophie's science project on the dining table, Caleb's baseball glove on the stairs, the armchairs in the living room angled toward each other for our evening news ritual. The basement door, behind which waited my workshop tools, hung in perfect rows, projects half finished, the place I went to fix things that could be fixed. I walked to the kitchen, found a note card in the junk drawer, grabbed a pen, the good one, the Mont Blanc Amelia gave me for our 10th anniversary. 3 lines. 3 rules for whatever came next. Don't beg, don't bargain, don't blow up. I stuck it to the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like the Capitol dome. Then I climbed the stairs, brushed my teeth, and got into bed. My side, the left side, the same side I'd slept on for 20 years. The sheets still smelled like lavender. At dawn, the doorbell rang. Not the bell, actually the knock. 3 raps, pause, 2 raps, military precision. I knew before I opened it. Coffee? Dad held up a thermos, steam curling from the lip. Behind him, the sky was the color of old pennies. She told you? I took the thermos, grateful for something to hold. She told Harper. Harper told your mother. Your mother called me. He stepped inside, filling the doorway the way he always did. Elijah Brooks, 6'3", a Vietnam vet and VFW commander and father who'd seen too much to be surprised by anything. You eaten? No. That's what I figured. He moved to the kitchen like he owned it, started pulling out pans. Scrambled or over easy? Dad, scrambled it is. He found the eggs, the butter, moved with the efficiency of a man who'd fed himself through a war and 40 years since. She coming back for her things? Today, with Harper. The butter sizzled. And the kids? Still asleep. Good, let 'em sleep. World's still gonna be complicated when they wake up. He glanced at my note card, nodded approval. Smart rules, stick to 'em. We ate in silence, forks scraping ceramic, coffee burning our tongues. Outside, D.C. Woke up joggers passing, newspapers hitting driveways, the distant hum of traffic on the Beltway. Logan Winters, I said finally. That's his name. The other, I know who he is. Dad's tone could have frozen the Potomac. Lobbies for pharmaceutical companies, big office on K Street, drives a Mercedes. Of course he knew. Dad knew everyone who mattered in this town, and plenty who didn't. What do I do? The question came out smaller than I intended. You get up tomorrow. You make breakfast. You get those kids to school. You do your job. He gathered the plates, started washing them by hand even though we had a dishwasher. You be the same man you were yesterday, just carrying a heavier load. That's simple. Didn't say simple. Said that's what you do. He dried his hands on the dish towel, turned to face me. She made her choice. Now you make yours. You can blow up, chase her, beg her to come back. Or you can be the man your kids need, the man I raised. Which is it gonna be? Before I could answer, we heard it cars in the driveway. 2 of them. Doors slamming. That'll be them. Dad folded the towel, hung it perfectly straight. I'll go check on the kids. You handle this. He climbed the stairs, each step deliberate. I went to the door, opened it before they could knock. Amelia stood there in jeans and a sweater, looking like she'd slept about as well as I had. Behind her, Harper held 2 empty suitcases and wouldn't meet my eyes. Mason. Amelia's voice carried false brightness. I thought you'd be at work. It's Sunday. Right, of course. She twisted her wedding ring, still wearing it, I noticed. Habit or cruelty? We'll just be a few minutes. I stepped aside. They entered like thieves, Harper heading upstairs while Amelia moved through the living room, gathering objects with surgical precision. A crystal vase from her mother, the throw pillows she'd picked out last Christmas, her reading lamp. The kids? She asked, not looking at me. Sleeping. Good. That's good. Harper came down with the suitcases full, struggling with the weight. I didn't offer to help. Neither did Amelia. I'll call about seeing them, she said at the door. Once I'm settled. Through lawyers, I heard myself say. All communication goes through lawyers now. Her face went through several expressions: surprise, hurt, anger, before settling on resignation. If that's what you want, that's what's necessary. Harper finally looked at me then, and I saw she'd been crying. Mason, go. Not cruel, just final. Both of you, go. They left. I watched from the window as they loaded her car, the Camry we'd bought together, that I'd taught Sophie to check the oil on just last month. Watched them drive away, Harper following in her own car like a funeral procession. Dad? Sophie's voice from the stairs, small and confused. Where's Mom going? I turned to find both kids standing there in their pajamas, Dad behind them like a mountain. Caleb held his stuffed dinosaur, the one he pretended he was too old for. Come here. I sat on the couch, patted the cushions beside me. They came, folding into my sides like they had when they were smaller. Mom needs to live somewhere else for a while. Why? Caleb's voice muffled against my shirt. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that are hard to understand. But here's what I need you to know: this isn't your fault. Not even a little bit. And I'm not going anywhere. Neither is Grandpa. Neither is this house. You're safe. Sophie pulled back, looked at me with eyes that were too knowing for 12. She's not coming back, is she? Dad's hand settled on my shoulder, heavy and warm. No, I said. I don't think she is. Caleb started crying then, the kind of deep, gulping sobs that come when your world shifts without warning. Sophie held it together for another minute before joining him. I pulled them closer, felt their tears soak through my shirt, and let them grieve the family we'd been yesterday. Outside, another jogger passed. Another newspaper hit a driveway. The world kept spinning, indifferent to the fact that ours had just stopped. Monday came like a hangover, inevitable and harsh. I dropped the kids at school, watching them disappear through the entrance of Woodley Elementary with their backpacks and brave faces. Sophie had done Caleb's hair, making sure his cowlick stayed down. Little gestures of care that broke my heart. At work, I stared at lines of code that might as well have been hieroglyphics. The federal building's air conditioning hummed its white noise lullaby while my fingers hovered over the keyboard. Useless. You look like hell. Theo dropped into the chair beside my desk, coffee in hand. We'd been working the same contract for 2 years, long enough to know each other's rhythms. Thanks. Seriously, man, you sick? I thought about lying. In D.C., personal drama was weakness, but Theo had covered for me before, would again. Amelia left. The words still felt foreign, like speaking a new programming language. Saturday night. Shit. He set down his coffee, leaned back. Kids? With me. You need anything? Time off? Me to cover the Henderson audit? I need to work. I turned back to my screen, started typing. Movement helped. But yeah, take Henderson if you can. He did, no questions asked. That's how it worked in our world. You coded around the bugs, patched what you could, kept the system running. After lunch, I couldn't stand it anymore. The not knowing was worse than whatever truth waited. I pulled up our joint bank statement online, started scrolling. There it was, patterns in the data, clear as corrupted files. May 15, 340s, the Willard Hotel, 2:00 p.m., May 827th, ride share to K Street, 11:45 a.m., April 30th, 200, ATM withdrawal, yoga class. April 22nd, 340, the Willard Hotel, 1:30 p.m., the Willard, where presidents had lived and deals got made and apparently where wives met their lovers for afternoon arrangements. I checked our calendar. May 15th, she'd had a client lunch. April 22nd was getting her hair done. I called the yoga studio. Breathe Easy Wellness, this is Janet. Hi, I'm calling about my wife's membership. Amelia Brooks? Let me check. Keyboard clicks. I don't show anyone by that name in our system. Would it be under another name? No, thank you. I hung up, added another lie to the tally. How many Tuesday and Thursday nights? How many phantom stretches and imaginary poses while she was actually stop? I pushed back from the desk, walked to the window. 17th Street buzzed below, suits and briefcases in purpose, everyone knowing where they were going. That evening, I broke my own rules. Couldn't help it. After the kids were asleep, homework checked, teeth brushed, one more chapter of Harry Potter for Caleb, I drove to Luca's place. The bar sat tucked between a dry cleaner and a tax attorney's office, the kind of spot you didn't find unless you knew to look. Inside, exposed brick and Edison bulbs gave it that calculated casual feel DC did so well. Luca stood behind the bar, polishing glasses with the focus of a man who'd heard every secret in the city. Mason. He nodded, already reaching for the bourbon. Been a while. Since the election party. I took a stool at the far end, away from the after-work crowd discussing committee hearings and poll numbers. That was a night. He poured 2 fingers, neat, slid it across. You look like you need this. I took a sip, let it burn. I need information. His hands stilled on the glass. Luca had been tending bar near the hill for 15 years, had seen every type of power player and the wreckage they left behind. Nothing surprised him anymore. About? My wife, Amelia. You know her, brunette, works at the Financial Services Association. She's been coming here with someone. Mason. I'm not looking for trouble, not going to make a scene. I need to know if what I think happened actually happened. He set down the glass, picked up another. The CNN feed above the bar droned on about budget negotiations. Yeah, he said finally. She's been in, with Logan Winters, the pharmaceutical lobbyist. There it was, confirmation dropping like a server crash. How long? First time I noticed was maybe 3 months ago. They sat in the back booth. He gestured toward the corner, half hidden by a pillar. Seemed professional at first. And then it wasn't. He poured himself a shot, knocked it back. Look, I don't judge. People do what they do. But yeah, they were together. Hands across the table, that kind of together. I finished my bourbon, left a 50 on the bar. Mason, he called as I headed for the door. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Thanks for the honesty. And Mason, I didn't tell you anything. Understood. Outside, the June air felt thick enough to swim through. I sat in my car, engine off, watching couples pass on the sidewalk. Some held hands, some didn't. No way to tell from the outside which ones were real, which ones were already ghosts. Back home, I found Evelyn on her porch, watering the roses that climbed her fence. Our houses sat side by side like an old married couple, sharing a property line and 20 years of borrowed sugar and gossip over the fence. Mason, she set down the watering can. How are you holding up? You heard. Harper called. We go to the same book club. She paused. The actual book club, where we actually discuss books. I almost smiled. That must be nice. Come sit. She patted the porch swing. I climbed the steps, settled beside her. She smelled like potting soil and the same perfume she'd worn since her husband died 5 years ago. The kids okay? Define okay. Functioning, eating, going to school. Then yeah, they're okay. We swung in silence, the chains creaking their rhythm. Down the street, someone was grilling charcoal smoke and suburban normalcy. You want to know the worst part? I said. I knew something was wrong, felt it for months. But I thought it was just stress, her job, the kids getting older. I kept thinking if I just held steady, it would pass. Steady's not a bad thing. It wasn't enough. For her. Evelyn's hand found mine, squeezed once. Not for everyone. The next morning, Theo was already at his desk when I arrived. I ran that open source check you didn't ask me to run. He handed me a printout, casual as passing code review notes. Logan Winters, Georgetown Law, divorced twice, senior partner at Winters & Associates, specializing in pharmaceutical lobbying. Current clients included 3 companies fighting new regulations on pricing. Interesting client list, Theo noted. Lots of money in keeping those drug prices high. I don't care about his clients. Sure you don't. He spun back to his computer. Also interesting, his office is in the same building as the Financial Services Association, third floor. Same building. All those times she'd worked late, all those urgent projects that couldn't wait. That night, I cooked spaghetti, the one meal I couldn't screw up. Sophie set the table without being asked, using the everyday plates. The good china lived in the cabinet, waiting for occasions that might not come again. Dad? Caleb pushed meatballs around his plate. Is Mom dating someone else? Sophie kicked him under the table. Shut up. What? Jessica's parents got divorced and her mom started dating Kevin's dad, and now it's weird and... Caleb. I set down my fork. What Mom does now is her business. Our business is taking care of each other. Okay? But what if she marries him? What if we have to live there? What if... Hey! I reached across, stilled his hand. You live here. This is your home. That's not changing. Promise? Promise. After dinner, while they did homework, I opened my laptop. Started documenting. Screenshots of bank statements, phone records showing calls to numbers that weren't in our contacts, credit card charges for restaurants I'd never been to, stores that didn't sell groceries or kids' clothes, building a case like debugging code, methodical, thorough, emotion-free. Each piece of evidence, another line in the program, constructing truth from data. At 10, I sent Amelia an email. 2 sentences, like she'd taught me in her communications workshops. I know about Logan. From now on, all communication goes through legal counsel. I hit send before I could reconsider, then closed the laptop and went to check on the kids. Both asleep, Caleb with his dinosaur, Sophie with a book fallen across her chest. I tucked them in, turned off lights, played the role I knew how to play. In my room, our room, the habit of thinking still strong, I stared at her side of the bed. The book she'd been reading still bookmarked on page 847 of some 1,000-page novel she'd never finish here. Her reading glasses on the nightstand, the indent in her pillow that would fade soon enough. The note card on the refrigerator downstairs held steady. 3 rules, 3 choices. I'd kept them all so far. But God, it was hard not to beg when the silence got this loud. Levi's office occupied the 7th floor of a building that had seen better decades. The elevator groaned its way up while I studied the inspection certificate expired, like half the promises in this city. Mason Brooks. Levi stood as his assistant showed me in, all 6'4" of him unfolding from behind a desk, covered in manila folders and coffee stains. We'd known each other since high school. He'd played basketball while I'd run track. Now he fought different kinds of battles. Sit, coffee, black, Maria 2 coffees and hold my calls. The office smelled like old leather and older law books. Diplomas covered one wall, Georgetown, honors, law review. The other held photos of his kids, his own divorce decree probably filed somewhere in these same cabinets. Tell me everything. He pulled out a legal pad. Start from Saturday. I did. The restaurant, the confession, the Sunday morning exit, the bank records, the Willard Hotel, Logan Winters. Each word felt like pulling glass from skin, necessary but painful. Kids? With me. She hasn't asked to see them yet. She will. He made notes in handwriting that looked like crime scene evidence. They always do once the fantasy fog lifts. You documented the affair? I handed him the folder I'd assembled. Screenshots, receipts, phone records. He flipped through, nodding. This is good. Clean. No hacking, no stalking. Just reviewing joint accounts. Judge will appreciate that. He leaned back, chair groaning. Here's what we're going to do. First, we file for legal separation immediately. Gets you exclusive use of the marital home, temporary custody, and freezes the status quo. Meaning? Meaning she can't empty accounts, can't take the kids out of state, can't sell assets. Protection, not punishment. He started a new page. Speaking of assets, we need to secure those yesterday. The list came fast. Freeze joint credit cards, remove her name from my retirement beneficiaries, create separate accounts for my paycheck, document every penny spent on the kids. What about college funds? Already in the kids' names? 529 plans, both of them. Good. Can't touch those without massive tax penalties, but change the successor owner to someone you trust, not her. My father. Elijah Brooks? Levi smiled for the first time. Judge Henley still tells stories about your dad from Vietnam. That's not going to hurt. We spent 2 hours constructing walls, legal ones, financial ones, all the barriers I should have seen the need for months ago. Each signature felt like accepting defeat, but also like building something new, a fortress for what remained. Custody? I asked as we wrapped up. You're the primary caregiver. Kids are with you. She left the home. Unless she can prove you're unfit, and Mason, I've known you 20 years, you're the opposite of unfit custody stays with you. And if she fights it? Then we fight back. But honestly, judges don't look kindly on parents who leave for lovers, especially in this jurisdiction. He stood, extended his hand. We'll file tomorrow. She'll be served by Thursday. You ready for that? No, but I'll be ready anyway. That evening, Dad showed up with tools and determination. Figured you might want to change the locks, he said, holding up a new deadbolt set. Also brought dinner. Your mother made pot roast. We worked in companionable silence, him showing me how to properly seat the cylinder, align the strike plate. Basic skills I'd never learned, too busy debugging systems to secure my own home. Heard from your mother? He asked, testing the new key. She texted, said she was sorry to hear, offered to take the kids this weekend. That'd be good, give you time to breathe. He moved to the back door, started on that lock. You talked to a lawyer? Levi Harrison, filed papers today. Smart. Levi's good people. The screwdriver turned steady in his hands. Your mother wanted me to tell you something, about when her sister left her husband back in '82. Aunt Patricia, that's the one. Ran off with some real estate developer. Lasted 6 months before he traded her in for a younger model. He tested the lock, nodded satisfaction. Patricia spent years trying to get back what she'd thrown away. Never could. Kids barely speak to her now. Subtle, Dad. Your mother's never been subtle, but she's rarely wrong. He packed up the tools, handed me the spare keys. Point is, grass looks greener 'cause you're not standing in it. Once you are, you see all the same brown patches. After he left, I sat at the kitchen table with Sophie and Caleb, new keys between us like artifacts. We're changing the locks, I explained. And some other things, too. New rules for a new situation. Is Mom not allowed here anymore? Sophie's question came sharp, protective of her brother more than herself. She's allowed to see you, but on a schedule we all agree to, and she needs to call first. What if she just shows up? Caleb fingered one of the keys. Then she waits outside until the scheduled time, same as anyone else. That seems mean, he said quietly. It seems safe, Sophie corrected. Right, Dad? Right. That night I changed beneficiaries' online life insurance, retirement accounts. Everything that had listed Amelia now showed the kids or Dad. Each click felt like surgery without anesthesia. Thursday came like a storm system, inevitable and tracked by radar. I was reviewing network protocols when my phone buzzed. She's been served. Expect fireworks. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded. 7 calls in 3 minutes, then texts. How dare you? We could have handled this like adults. You're traumatizing the children. I can't believe you're being so vindictive. Call me now. I turned off the phone, went back to work. Don't engage the virus. Just quarantine and protect the system. That evening, Harper's car idled in my driveway when I got home. She stood on the porch, arms crossed, fury radiating like heat waves. You couldn't just talk to her? Harper's voice pitched high, accusatory. Had to go straight to lawyers? She went straight to another man's bed. Seemed like we were past talking. That's not you don't understand. She's been unhappy for years. You never noticed because you were too busy with your routines and your schedules and Harper. I kept my voice level, keys ready. Get off my porch. She just wants to see the kids. Then she can request a visitation schedule through her attorney. You're being cruel. I'm being careful. There's a difference. I stepped past her, unlocked the new deadbolt. Tell her to check her email. My lawyer sent a proposed schedule. Very fair. Every other weekend, 1 evening per week. That's nothing. Those are her children. Those are the children she left. I turned in the doorway. In my house, where she chose not to be. Harper's face went through several expressions before landing on disgust. You always were a cold bastard. And yet your sister married me. What does that say about her judgment? She stormed to her car, slammed the door hard enough to echo. I watched her go, then went inside to find Evelyn in my kitchen, helping Sophie with homework while Caleb practiced multiplication tables. Heard voices, Evelyn said casually. Thought you might need backup. Harper. Ah, the enabler. She checked Caleb's work, added a smiley face. Bet she gave you the unhappy for years speech. You've heard it? Honey, every cheater's got a sister or friend who validates their choices, makes them the victim of their own decisions. She stood, gathered her things, fed the kids mac and cheese. Hope that's okay. It's perfect. Thank you. That's what neighbors do. At the door, she paused. Mason, you're doing the right thing. Setting boundaries isn't punishment, it's survival. Friday brought the counterstrike. Amelia's lawyer, some K Street shark who probably cost more per hour than I made in a day, sent a response. She wanted joint custody, the house, alimony, and equitable distribution of assets acquired during the marriage. Levi called, laughing. Actually laughing. She wants the house she abandoned and money from the man she cheated on? This is beautiful. Judge Henley's going to love this. What do? We document everything. Every night she doesn't call the kids. Every missed opportunity to see them. Every dollar she's spending on her new life. He paused. Speaking of which, pulled some records. She's been hitting the joint cards hard. Nordstrom, Saks, some spa in Georgetown. How much? $8,000 in 2 weeks. Jesus. Cancel those cards today. Judge'll see it as dissipation of marital assets. Helps our case. That weekend, my parents took the kids as planned. The house felt wrong without them too quiet, too still. I wandered room to room like a security patrol, checking windows, adjusting things that didn't need adjusting. In the basement, my workshop waited. Half-finished projects covered the bench a jewelry box for Sophie's birthday, bookends for Caleb. I picked up sandpaper, started working the wood smooth. The repetition helped. Sand away the rough edges, reveal what was underneath. My phone buzzed. Amelia, probably. I'd turned it back on, but set her number to silent. The message preview showed, "Please, Mason, can we just talk?" I deleted it unread, went back to sanding. The jewelry box was taking shaped cherry wood with small compartments, a mirror inside the lid, something that would last longer than promises. Sunday evening, the kids came home sun-tired and happy. Mom had taken them to the zoo, then ice cream, then a movie. Normal grandmother stuff that felt like a miracle. Mom called Grandma's phone, Sophie mentioned as I tucked her in. Wanted to talk to us. And? Grandma said that wasn't appropriate, that Mom should follow the custody arrangement. She pulled her covers up. Is that okay? That we didn't talk to her? That's exactly right. Grandma was protecting the boundaries we set. Boundaries. She tested the word. Like walls? Like walls with doors. And we decide when to open them. I like that, she said quietly. Walls with doors. In Caleb's room, different questions waited. Dad, are you and Mom getting divorced because she kissed another man? I sat on his bed, chose my words carefully. Divorce happens when grown-ups break important promises. But that's grown-up stuff. Your job is to be 9 years old. Almost 10. Almost 10, I agreed. Your job is school and baseball and being a good person. My job is making sure you're safe and loved. Are you sad? Sometimes. Are you? Yeah. He hugged his dinosaur tighter. But also mad. Is that bad? No, buddy. Feelings aren't bad. They just are. What matters is what we do with them. What do you do with yours? I work on projects. Talk to Grandpa. Make sure you and Sophie are okay. I smoothed his hair. What helps you? Baseball, and when you make pancakes. Then I'll make more pancakes. With chocolate chips? Don't push it. He smiled. The first real one I'd seen since last weekend. Small victories. Later, I sat in my armchair, just mine now, with the custody paperwork. Levi had been thorough. Schedules, pickup times, communication protocols, all the architecture of a broken family trying to function. The phone buzzed again. This time, Logan's name appeared. I almost laughed at the audacity. Mr. Brooks, I think we should talk man to man about the situation. Logan Winters. I screenshotted it, sent it to Levi, then typed back, "Direct all communication through legal counsel. Any further contact will be considered harassment. Block, delete, move on." Outside, a summer storm rolled in, lightning illuminating the neighborhood in snapshots. The new locks held firm against the rain. The house stayed dry. The kids slept safe in their beds. I'd built what I could from what remained. It wasn't the life we'd planned, but it was solid. It would hold. The note card on the fridge caught my eye as I turned off the lights. 3 rules, still intact. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new cracks to patch, but tonight, the boundaries held. That had to be enough. The moving truck arrived on a Tuesday morning in July, chrome gleaming in the humidity like a monument to everything ending. Harper's SUV pulled up behind it, Amelia stepping out in sunglasses and determination. I stood in the doorway, coffee in hand, watching the movers eye our front steps like a tactical problem. The kids were at day camp Levi's idea, give them normal summer activities while their world rearranged itself. "Mason." Amelia stopped at the property line, as if the grass itself might reject her. "I just need some things." "Your lawyer has the list of approved items." I kept my voice neutral, professional, just another transaction. 45 minutes. That's not enough time to... Then work faster. Harper pushed past her sister, shoulders squared for battle. "We're taking what's hers. You can't stop us. I can call the police." I held up my phone, Levi on speed dial. "Your choice." They worked with bitter efficiency, Harper directing movers while Amelia wandered the house like a ghost cataloging her past life. I followed at a distance, documenting what they took. The dining room china wedding gift from her parents, the master bedroom artwork bought on our honeymoon in Santa Fe, her clothes, her jewelry box, the expensive mixer she'd used twice. In Sophie's room, she paused at the desk, fingers trailing over homework assignments and friendship bracelets. "Don't." My voice came out sharper than intended. I was just, "Don't touch their things. Not today." She pulled back as if burned, moved to Caleb's room. Same pause at his baseball trophies, his drawings taped to the wall. A mother inventorying what she'd chosen to leave behind. "I'm not a monster," she said quietly. "I didn't say you were. You don't have to. This whole production says it for you." She gestured at my phone, still recording. "Legal documentation of me taking my own possessions. Shared possessions from our life, which you ended. Which I left. There's a difference. Tell yourself whatever helps." Harper appeared in the doorway. "The truck's nearly full. Living room?" "No." I blocked the path. "Nothing from common areas." Her lawyer agreed. "This is ridiculous." Harper's voice pitched high. "They were married for 20 years. She has rights. She had choices. She made them." The movers carried out the last boxes, feet heavy on our hardwood floors. Amelia stood in the foyer, looking smaller without her things surrounding her. "I'll see them this weekend?" Not quite a question, not quite a statement. "If you follow the schedule, Saturday 10 a.m., return by 6. 8 hours. You're giving me 8 hours with my children. The court gave you 8 hours, because you gave them up for Logan Winters." Her face flushed. "You don't know Tuesday afternoons at the Willard, Thursday evenings at his condo. 3 months of lies every time you kissed them goodnight smelling like someone else's cologne." I stepped closer, voice dropping. "I know enough." Harper tugged her sister's arm. "Come on, he's not worth it." They left in a processional of everything ending truck first, then Harper, then Amelia, pausing at her car to look back at the house. For a moment, I saw her as she'd been young mother bringing Sophie home from the hospital, planting roses by the fence, laughing at Caleb's first steps. Then she was gone, and I was left with empty spaces where her life used to be. I walked through the house, cataloging absence. The bedroom closet gaped open, my clothes looking lost without hers beside them. The bathroom counter held only my toothbrush, my razor, my simple routine. The kitchen missed her coffee mug collection, the shelves showing gaps like pulled teeth. But the bones remained. The house still stood. The kids' room stayed intact. The kitchen table where we ate as a family, now a family of 3, waited for dinner. That evening, I picked up the kids from camp to find them quieter than usual. "Jessica's mom saw our house," Sophie said once we were driving. The moving truck. She asked if we were moving. What did you tell her? That Mom was. Not us. Good answer. She looked at me weird, like I had something on my face. People don't always know how to react to hard things. That's their problem, not yours. At home, Caleb noticed immediately. Where's the blue chair? Amelia's reading chair. I'd forgotten it was on the list. Mom took some of her things today. He walked through the house, pointing out gaps. The mixer, the weird painting from the hallway, her exercise bike. He paused in the living room. It looks wrong. We'll rearrange. Make it ours. Can we put the TV there? He pointed to where her chair had been. Sophie rolled her eyes. You just want a bigger screen for video games. So? So that's not what's important right now. They bickered comfortably, the sound filling empty spaces. I started dinner while they settled at the kitchen table with homework. Routine asserting itself over chaos. Dad? Sophie looked up from her math. Is Mom living with him? With Logan? I kept stirring the pasta sauce, choosing words. I don't know where she's living. Bella's parents got divorced and her dad lived in a hotel for like a month. Then he got an apartment with no furniture. She chewed her pencil. Do you think Mom has furniture? I'm sure she's figured it out. With his money, she added quietly. Right? Because you froze the accounts. 12 years old and already understanding too much. Those were family accounts, for family expenses. And she's not family anymore? Caleb's head snapped up. She's still our mom. I know that, dummy. I mean legally, like taxes and stuff. Sophie. I turned from the stove. She's your mother. That doesn't change. What changes is how we organize our lives, but the love that stays. Even if she doesn't? The question hung between us like smoke. Even then. That night, after they were asleep, I sat in my workshop trying to make sense of wood grain and sandpaper. The jewelry box was nearly finished, just needed the felt lining and final polish. Something beautiful from raw materials. Something lasting. My phone buzzed. Amelia. I'd removed the block to allow coordination about the kids. The house looked nice. You were always good at maintaining things. I stared at the words, searching for hidden meaning. Maintaining. Like I was a caretaker instead of a person who'd built a life there. The kids' schedule is unchanged. Camp 83, then home. Saturday pickup at 10. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, do they hate me? I could have been cruel. Could have twisted that knife she'd handed me. Instead, they're hurt and confused. Hate's too simple for what they feel. I never meant to hurt them. Intentions matter less than actions. That's cold, Mason. That's honest. No response after that. I went back to sanding, each stroke smoothing away imperfection. Friday came with DC's special brand of July misery air like soup, concrete radiating heat, everyone moving in slow motion. At work, Theo brought news. Logan Winters is engaged. I looked up from code review. What? My wife knows his ex-wife's sister. Gossip chain says he proposed to some pharmaceutical executive. Been dating for months. Months. The word tasted bitter. How many months? Since spring, apparently. The sister says he never really ended things with the exec, just added your wife as a side dish. I leaned back, processing this like corrupted data. Amelia had blown up our life for a man who was already hedging his bets. You okay? I thought about it. I'm actually great. That's perfect. She nuked 20 years for somebody's backup plan. You're not going to tell her? What would be the point? She made her choice. Let her live with the consequences. Saturday morning arrived with military precision. I had the kids ready at 9:55, overnight bags packed, Sophie's inhaler included, Caleb's baseball glove because he had practice Sunday. Amelia's car knew, I noticed. A silver Lexus pulled up at 10:03. She's late, Sophie observed. 3 minutes. We'll let it slide. They walked to the car like defendants approaching the bench. I watched from the door as she hugged them, saw Caleb stay stiff while Sophie barely participated. Natural consequences playing out in real time. Be good, I called out. Love you both. Love you too, Dad, Caleb waved. Sophie just nodded, already climbing into the back seat. 8 hours. I had 8 hours to be alone with the echoes. I spent them productively, mowed the lawn, fixed the dripping bathroom faucet, cleaned gutters. Physical work that showed results. Evelyn brought lemonade around 2, sat with me on the back steps. How are you holding up? One day at a time. That's all anybody can do. She watched me replace the gutter screen. Heard about Logan's engagement. News travels. Faster than light in this town. She sipped her lemonade. You going to tell her? Would you? No, but I'm petty like that. 6 o'clock came and went. 6:10, 6:15. At 6:20, headlights turned into the driveway. Sophie burst out first, ran straight past me into the house. Caleb followed slower, dragging his bag. Good day? I asked him. It was okay. Mom's apartment is small and it smells weird. Weird how? Like those candles stores use. Too many flavors. Amelia hadn't gotten out of the car. I could see her silhouette, hands still on the wheel. I walked Caleb inside, then came back out. Sophie wouldn't talk to me, she said through the window. All day, not one word. She needs time. Time? I'm her mother. Who left? That takes processing. I didn't leave them. I left you. Same house, same result. She shifted into reverse, stopped. Logan's getting married. So she knew. I kept my face neutral. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're right. I'm not. He was engaged the whole time. The whole time, Mason. Her voice cracked. I threw away everything for someone who was using me as entertainment between meetings. What do you want me to say? Say you hate me. Say I'm stupid. Say something. You're not stupid. You made a choice based on incomplete information. I stepped back from the car. Now you live with it, just like the rest of us. She drove away crying. I felt nothing. Maybe that made me cold, like Harper said, or maybe it just made me tired. Inside, Sophie had barricaded herself in her room. Through the door, I could hear muffled crying. Want to talk about it? I called. No. Want dinner? No. Want me to leave you alone? Yes. I respected that. Caleb and I ate grilled cheese in comfortable silence, then watched a movie about robots saving the world. Simple good versus evil, everything fixed by the credits. Dad? He snuggled closer on the couch. I don't like Mom's new place. Why not? There's no yard and no workshop, and it doesn't smell like home. What's home smell like? He thought about it. Pancakes and your coffee, and Sophie's weird shampoo and normal stuff. Normal stuff, I repeated. I like that. Mom's place smells like trying too hard. From the mouths of babes. Sunday passed in blessed routine. Sophie emerged for breakfast, quiet but present. We hit the farmer's market, bought tomatoes and corn from the same vendor we'd used for years. Normal stuff. Mr. Brooks, the vendor smiled. Where's the missus? Just us today, I said smoothly, exact change ready. Well, you tell her Maria says hello. Will do. In the car, Sophie finally spoke. You lied. I avoided awkwardness. Same thing. Sometimes. I hate that everyone's going to know. She slumped in her seat. School starts in 6 weeks. Everyone's going to whisper. Maybe. But whispers fade. You know what doesn't? Who you are, how you treat people, the choices you make. I glanced at her. You're not defined by what your mother did. Easy for you to say. You're the good guy in this. There are no good guys, Soph. Just people trying their best with imperfect information. You sound like a fortune cookie. An intelligent fortune cookie? She almost smiled. A moderately wise one. That evening, Levi called with updates. Her lawyer's pushing for more time with the kids. Based on? Nothing substantial. But here's the interesting part: she's listed as living alone. No mention of Logan. He kicked her out? Or never let her in. Either way, she's paying rent on a 1-bedroom in Cleveland Park. Not cheap. With what money? That's the million-dollar question. Literally. She's going to claim financial hardship, push for alimony. We need to document her spending. Already on it. Good man. Keep being boring, Mason. Judges love boring. I hung up, went back to my workshop. The jewelry box was finished, gleaming under the lights. Perfect corners, smooth action on the lid, felt-lined compartments waiting for treasures, something built to last generations. Outside, summer thunder rolled across the Potomac. The kids were safe in their beds. The doors were locked. The house stood solid against whatever storm was coming. Because storms always came. That was the one thing you could count on in this city of marble and ambition and broken promises. But I'd built what shelter I could. It would have to be enough, for now. Tuesday morning started like any other September day in D.C., humid, buzzing with political energy, everyone rushing towards something important. I dropped the kids at school, Sophie complaining about a history test, Caleb excited about show and tell with his rock collection. "Love you guys," I called as they headed inside. "Love you too." Caleb waved, rocks rattling in his backpack. Sophie just nodded. Too cool for public affection, but still my girl. At work, I was deep in firewall configurations when Theo burst through the door. "Mason, TV, now!" The break room was packed, everyone staring at the screen. Smoke poured from a tower in New York. The anchor's voice, usually so polished, cracked as she spoke. "Appears to be a small plane that has crashed into the World Trade Center." We watched, coffee cooling in our hands as the second plane hit. Not a small plane, not an accident. "Holy shit," someone whispered. The room erupted, phones ringing, people trying to call family, supervisors barking about emergency protocols, but all I could think about was my kids, sitting in classrooms 3 miles away. "I gotta go," I told Theo. "Go, I'll cover." The drive to Woodley Elementary took forever. D.C. was transforming before my eyes, sirens everywhere, police setting up checkpoints, fighter jets screaming overhead. The radio cycled through horror. Pentagon hit, another plane down in Pennsylvania, towers falling. The school was chaos, parents abandoning cars, running for the entrance. Inside, controlled panic teachers trying to maintain order while their own eyes showed fear. "Sophie and Caleb Brooks," I told the secretary. "I need them now. They're bringing all students to the gymnasium. Now!" My voice came out harder than intended. She must have seen something in my face because she picked up the intercom. 5 minutes later, both kids appeared, Sophie holding Caleb's hand. "Dad?" Caleb's eyes were huge. Mrs. Peterson was crying. "Come on, we're going home." "But I have math," Sophie started. "Not today." In the car, I tried to explain the unexplainable. Bad people, planes, buildings far away but close enough. Sophie understood too much, Caleb not enough. "Are we safe?" he asked. "Yes, I've got you." "What about Mom?" The question I'd been avoiding. My phone had no signal, everyone in D.C. trying to call everyone else. The radio said Metro was shut down, roads closing, government buildings evacuating. "She's probably trying to get home too," I lied smoothly. At the house, we found Evelyn on our porch, still in her bathrobe. "Thank God," she breathed. "I saw you leave, figured you went for the kids." "Come inside," I offered. We spent the afternoon huddled around the TV, watching the world change in real time. I made grilled cheese nobody ate. Caleb built towers with his blocks, then knocked them down, over and over. Sophie curled against me, asking questions I couldn't answer. "Why would someone do this?" "I don't know, honey." "Will they do it here?" "No. We're safe." "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." Around 3, the landline rang. Not my cell, the old phone hardwired to the wall. "Mason?" Amelia's voice, thin and scared. "Are the kids? They're here, safe." "Thank God, I've been trying to call. The cells are jammed and the roads Logan won't let me leave. He says it's not safe to drive and—" "They're safe," I repeated. "That's what matters. Can I talk to them?" I looked at Sophie, who shook her head. Caleb was absorbed in his blocks. "They're resting. It's been a hard day." "Mason, please, I'm their mother." "Who's safe in a K Street condo while they're here processing trauma?" "I'll have them call later." "That's not—" I hung up. Not proud of it, but not sorry either. Dad arrived at 4, still in his VFW jacket. "Figured you'd need supplies." He carried in batteries, water, canned goods, survival mode activated. "Post is open. We're serving coffee, giving people a place to gather. The kids, bring 'em. Better than sitting here watching death on repeat." He was right. The VFW hall buzzed with controlled purpose, veterans who'd seen worse organizing comfort for a city in shock. Someone had set up a kids' corner with coloring books. Caleb joined other children, drawing pictures I didn't want to analyze. Sophie helped pour coffee, finding purpose in small service. Mason Brooks, an older vet, shook my hand. Elijah's boy. Heard about your situation. Great. Even during national tragedy, gossip traveled. Tough times, he continued. But you're doing right by those kids. That matters. Hours blended together. Updates on the radio, death tolls rising, airports closed, president somewhere secure, parents held children tighter, strangers became neighbors. The city that ran on partisan division suddenly remembered how to be human. Dad, Sophie appeared at my elbow. Mom called Grandpa's phone. I found Dad outside, phone extended. She's insistent, he said simply. I took it. What? I want to see them. Amelia's voice was stronger now, edged with anger. You can't keep them from me during a crisis. I'm not keeping them. I'm protecting them. There's a difference. Logan says, I don't give a damn what Logan says. The kids are safe, they're fed, they're with family and community. Where are you? Silence. Then, at his place. Right. Stay there. Stay safe. We'll talk when the world stops ending. I handed the phone back to Dad, who ended the call without comment. That night, I tucked the kids in early. The house felt different, like the walls themselves knew something had shifted. Dad? Caleb whispered. Is Mom okay? She's safe. But is she okay? I sat on his bed, choosing words. Today was hard for everyone. But yes, she's okay. She didn't come home. No, she didn't. Even though buildings fell down? Even though. He processed this with 9-year-old logic. That's weird. Yeah, buddy, it is. In Sophie's room, harder questions waited. She chose him, she said flatly. Even today. She chose to stay with him instead of coming to us. It's complicated. No, it's not. She stared at the ceiling. When scary things happen, you're supposed to go to your family. We're her family, but she stayed with him. I had no answer that wouldn't sound like an excuse or a condemnation. I love you, Soph. I know, you showed up. Downstairs, I found Evelyn in my kitchen making tea. Figured you could use company, she said. We sat at the table sipping chamomile, while the TV murmured updates from the living room. Outside, the usual DC night sounds were replaced by sirens and helicopters. Levi called, she said. Wanted to make sure you were okay. Said to tell you the court dates might be delayed, but the temporary orders stand. The world's ending, and he's thinking about custody arrangements. The world's not ending, just changing, and your kid still needs stability tomorrow. She was right. Crisis didn't pause regular life. It just made it more complicated. My cell finally buzzed around midnight. Amelia, again, made it to my apartment. Kids okay? Sleeping safe? I should have been there. Yes, you should have. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, Logan didn't understand why I was so upset. I could have said many things. About priorities, about choices, about men who treat children like inconveniences. Instead, get some rest. Long days ahead. I turned off the phone, checked the locks, looked in on the kids one more time. Sophie had kicked off her covers. Caleb had his arms around his dinosaur. Safe. Here. Mine to protect. Outside, sirens continued their symphony. The world had cracked open, but inside these walls we held steady. Dad had left a note on the kitchen table. Proud of you. The kids are lucky. I sat in my workshop until dawn, sanding wood and thinking about towers falling, about what people grab when they run, about who shows up when the world tilts sideways. Amelia had made her choice. Even today, even with the sky literally falling, she'd chosen him. The kids had noticed. They wouldn't forget. October arrived like a hangover, gray skies, and the smell of smoke that might have been real or might have been memory. DC had developed a new rhythm. Security checkpoints, concrete barriers, the constant hum of helicopters. Everyone walked a little faster, hugged a little longer, said, "Be safe," instead of goodbye. Our house found its own rhythm, too. 6 a.m., coffee brewing. News on low volume, 6:30 a.m. Wake the kids, 7 a.m. Breakfast cereal for Sophie, toast for Caleb, always cut diagonal, 7:45 a.m. School drop-off, 8:30 a.m. Work, 3:30 p.m. School pickup, 4 p.m. Homework at the kitchen table, 6 p.m. Dinner, 8 p.m. Caleb's bedtime, 9 p.m. Sophie's bedtime, 10 p.m. Workshop or sleep routine became religion. Structure was safety. "You're turning into a robot," Sophie observed one morning, watching me pack identical lunches. "Robots are reliable and boring. Boring's underrated." She rolled her eyes but ate her breakfast: scrambled eggs, wheat toast, orange juice. The same thing she'd requested every morning for 2 weeks. Maybe we were all craving predictability. That afternoon, I finally tackled the photos. Every surface held evidence of our former life: family portraits, vacation snapshots, couples selfies before selfies had a name. I moved through the house with a box, editorial but not vindictive. Wedding photo from the mantle, boxed. Hawaii vacation on the bookshelf, boxed. Her college graduation in the hallway, boxed. I kept the kids' photos, of course. Baby pictures, school portraits, candids of them playing. But the couple dissolved into storage. "What are you doing?" Sophie stood in the doorway, backpack still on. "Redecorating." "By erasing Mom?" "By focusing on the present." She walked to the bookshelf, touched the empty space. "It's like she died." "She didn't die. She left." Different grief, different process. "Did you read that in a book?" "Therapy pamphlet." "Are we going to therapy? Do you want to?" She considered this. "Maybe. Jessica goes since her parents split. She says it's okay. You mostly just talk." "I'll get names." "Cool." She headed upstairs, leaving me with my boxes and gaps. I replaced the empty spaces with landscapes, neutral mountains, and oceans that demanded nothing, promised nothing, just existed. The family album went on the highest shelf in the hall closet, not thrown away, not displayed. Available if needed, invisible if not. That evening, Theo stopped by with news and beer. "You sitting down?" He handed me a Sam Adams. "What now?" "Remember that security audit we did last month? The Pentagon contract?" "Yeah? They want to expand it. Whole Homeland Security Initiative. They need senior analysts." He clinked his bottle against mine. "Brennan wants to promote you. Project lead. 30% pay bump." "You're kidding." "Dead serious. Turns out being reliable during crisis gets noticed." "I just came to work." "While half the team was freaking out or fleeing the city, you came to work. Fixed problems, met deadlines." He grinned. "Boring pays off." "Sophie will be devastated. She'll cope, especially when that 30% helps with college." We sat on the back porch watching October paint the leaves. The neighbor's dog barked. Someone was grilling despite the chill. Normal sounds in an abnormal time. "How's the divorce going?" "Slow. Courts are backed up. Levi says maybe January for mediation." "And Amelia?" "Following the visitation schedule, mostly." "Mostly?" "Missed last Tuesday, said work was crazy." "Logan's work?" "She doesn't mention him anymore." Theo raised an eyebrow, but didn't push. We knew how these stories ended. Saturday morning meant library run. The kids had inherited my love of books, or maybe just needed escape routes. Sophie loaded up on dystopian fiction. "It's very now," she explained, while Caleb grabbed every book about dinosaurs and space. "That's 14 books," I pointed out. "So? You have 2 weeks to read them." I'm a fast reader. Hard to argue with confidence like that. At checkout, we ran into familiar faces: the Hendersons from our street, the Patel family from school, everyone doing the normal Saturday shuffle, pretending the world hadn't shifted. "Mason," Mrs. Henderson beamed. "And the kids? How are you all?" "Good," I said automatically. "You?" "Oh, you know, taking it day by day." Her smile faltered slightly. "Is Amelia meeting you here?" "No." The word hung there, sharp and final. Mrs. Henderson's eyes widened with understanding. "Oh, I see. Well." She gathered her books hastily. "You take care now." Word would spread. By tomorrow, the neighborhood would know. Another small death of our former life. "That was weird," Caleb observed as we walked to the car. People don't like change, I said. Makes them uncomfortable. Is that why Mom doesn't come to the house anymore? Partly. What's the other part? Sophie intervened. The other part is none of your business, doofus. I'm not a doofus. Then stop asking doofus questions. They bickered comfortably as I drove home, past the new concrete barriers around federal buildings, past the American flags that had sprouted on every surface. The city wore its wounds openly now. That night, Evelyn organized an impromptu backyard gathering. Nothing fancy, just neighbors sharing potluck and pretending the world made sense. The Johnsons brought chili. The new couple from 2 doors down contributed a salad nobody touched. Dad arrived with cornbread and war stories nobody wanted to hear but everybody needed. Community, he said simply when I thanked him for coming. That's how you get through. You show up for each other. I watched Sophie help serve food, Caleb chase fireflies with the other kids. Normal moments in abnormal times. The fence Amelia had wanted to replace stood firm, ugly and functional. The grass she'd complained about grew wild in patches, everything imperfect and absolutely right. Mason, Evelyn appeared beside me. You're brooding. Thinking. Same thing with you. She handed me a fresh beer. The kids look good. They're adjusting. So are you. Saw the photos came down. Time to redecorate. Smart. Though I always liked that one of you all at the beach. Which one? The one where she's looking at the camera and you're looking at her. I knew the photo, knew exactly where I'd boxed it and why. Ancient history. All history's ancient eventually. She clinked her bottle against mine. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Around 10, my phone buzzed. Amelia. Can I call them to say goodnight? I found Sophie reading on the couch, Caleb already passed out upstairs. Your mom wants to call, I said neutrally. Sophie didn't look up. I'm reading. You could take a break. I could, but I'm at a really good part. I texted back. Kids are already in bed. Tomorrow's better. It's 10:15. They had a big day. Every day's a big day. Apparently I didn't respond. Let her sit with her bitterness while my kids slept safe in their beds. Dad? Sophie had put down her book. Are you and Evelyn dating? What? No, why would you think that? She's here a lot, and she looks at you sometimes. We're friends, neighbors. Mom and Logan were friends and colleagues. The comparison stung with surgical precision. Evelyn's husband died 5 years ago. She's helping because that's what neighbors do. No ulterior motives, no secrets, just friendship. Okay. Okay? Yeah. I like Evelyn. She doesn't try too hard. She picked up her book again. Plus, she makes better lasagna than Mom. Don't let your mother hear that. Why? She doesn't live here anymore. Another sharp truth delivered with 12-year-old clarity. I checked on Caleb, tucked Sophie in at 9:30 despite her protests, then sat in my workshop staring at unfinished projects. The jewelry box I'd completed sat on the shelf, waiting for Sophie's 13th birthday. Beside it, the half-built bookends for Caleb gathered sawdust. 11:47 p.m. Another text. I missed them, I could have ignored it. Should have. Instead, they're available every Saturday, alternate Tuesdays. That's not what I meant. I know, do they ask about me? Yes, what do you say? The truth, that you made a choice. You make it sound simple. Your lawyer says everything's simple. That's not fair. Neither is what you did radio silence after that. I turned off the phone, locked up the house, checked the kids one more time. Asleep, safe, here. The 3 things that mattered. In bed, I stared at the ceiling and thought about Evelyn's question. Was I becoming a robot? Or was I just building what my kids needed, a functioning adult who showed up, stayed steady, chose them every single day? Outside, a helicopter made another pass. The new normal, everyone said. As if normal was a fixed point instead of whatever you built from whatever remained. I closed my eyes and started planning tomorrow. Breakfast, school, work, pickup, homework, dinner. Boring, reliable, safe. The kids were thriving. That was enough. November came in cold and harsh, stripping the last pretense of warmth from D.C. The city had settled into its new vigilance metal detectors everywhere. Armed guards at every corner, everyone pretending this was how it had always been. Amelia's Saturday pickups had become a choreographed dance. She'd pull up in the silver Lexus, wait in the driver's seat. The kids would walk out, Sophie first with her overnight bag held like a shield, Caleb dragging his feet until the last second. Have fun, I'd say. Be good, I'd add. Love you, I'd finish. Only Caleb ever responded. This Saturday was different. She got out of the car. We need to talk, she said over the kids' heads as they climbed in. Email your lawyer. 5 minutes. Please. Something in her voice not demanding, not angry, just tired. I nodded. Kids, I'll be right here, I called. They were already buckled in, Sophie with her book, Caleb with his Game Boy. We stood by the fence, November wind cutting through my sweater. Logan's backing out of the Thanksgiving trip, she said without preamble. To Turks and Caicos, said he needs to focus on work. Okay. He's been distant since. She gestured vaguely at the world. Since September. Says I'm too emotional, too needy. What do you want me to say? Nothing. She wrapped her arms around herself. The kids talk about your neighbors, your dad, this whole support system. And I'm in a one-bedroom apartment with takeout menus and a man who schedules our time together between conference calls. You chose that. I know. Her voice went small. I know I did. A moment of silence. Then she straightened, mask back in place. 8 o'clock return? I confirmed. 6. Logan has a client dinner. Of course he did. They drove off, and I spent the day doing Saturday things: laundry, yard work, fixing the drip in the upstairs bathroom. Evelyn came over around noon with soup. You look troubled, she observed, watching me attack the leaf pile with unnecessary vigor. Amelia's having buyer's remorse. Already? That was fast. Logan's showing his true colors. Apparently she's too needy post 9/11, Evelyn snorted. Man runs a pharmaceutical lobby. Probably sees tragedy as a market opportunity. That's harsh. That's Washington. We worked in companionable silence, her holding the bag while I stuffed leaves, the mundane comfort of shared labor. You know what the hard part is? I said eventually. I can see it all playing out. The slow realization, the growing distance, the moment she understands she destroyed everything for nothing. And part of me wants to comfort her. How sick is that? Not sick, human. Evelyn tied off the bag. You loved her for 20 years. That doesn't just stop. It should. Should and do are different words, Mason. That evening, the kids returned at 5:47, 13 minutes early. Sophie stormed inside without a word. Caleb lingered by the car, torn between loyalty and escape. Go ahead, buddy, I said. He scurried after his sister. Amelia sat in the car, hands white on the steering wheel. He wouldn't come to lunch, she said through the window. Said the restaurant was too loud. Too many children. They're children. That's what I said. Her laugh had edges. He said that wasn't his problem. But it is your problem. Yes. She looked at me then, really looked. I'm losing them, aren't I? Sophie won't talk. Caleb's polite but distant. They're slipping away and I can't stop it. You could try, what? Logan won't do kid things. Says it's not his scene. Says I need to keep that part of my life separate. That part. Your children are that part? I know how it sounds. Do you? She drove off without answering. Inside, I found Sophie in the kitchen, making herself a sandwich with violent precision. You okay? He's a jerk. She slapped peanut butter on bread like it had personally offended her. Mom wanted to take us to the Air and Space Museum. He said museums were boring, suggested she drop us at a movie while they went shopping. What did she say? Nothing. She just changed the subject. Sophie added jelly with unnecessary force. She always changes the subject when he's a jerk, which is always. That must be frustrating. It's pathetic. She bit into her sandwich, chewed angrily. She used to be different. Remember when she told off that coach who benched Jennifer Martinez for being late when her mom was sick? I remember. Where did that mom go? I had no answer that wouldn't make things worse. Caleb appeared, still in his jacket. Logan's apartment smells weird. Weird how? Like a store. Everything's white and you can't touch anything. He shed his jacket, revealing a dress shirt. Mom made us wear nice clothes. To go to a museum? To meet his friends at brunch. His face scrunched. They talked about wine for an hour. An hour, Dad, about grape juice. Fermented grape juice, Sophie corrected. Still stupid. They settled into their evening routine homework, TV, normalcy. But I could see the fractures forming, the distance growing between who their mother was and who she'd become. Monday brought news through the K Street Gossip Network. Theo heard it first, told me over lunch. Logan Winters is having a party. Big pharmaceutical conference in town. Black tie thing at his place Friday. Okay? Amelia's not invited. How do you know? My wife's cousin does PR for the Pharmaceutical Association. Saw the guest list. Logan's bringing someone else. A VP from Merck. Jesus. Yeah. He pushed fries around his plate. You going to tell her? Not my circus anymore. But it ate at me. The casual cruelty of it. She'd burned down her life for a man who wouldn't even acknowledge her at his own party. Wednesday's text came at midnight. Can we talk? It's late Logan's at a work event. I'm alone. That's not my problem, I know. I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at the words, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Don't engage, Levi had said. Nothing good comes from late-night texts with ex-wives. I turned off the phone. Thursday afternoon, Aria called the house. I almost didn't answer. The caller ID showed her name, and Amelia's PR cousin had never been my favorite person. Mason, it's Aria. Is Amelia there? She doesn't live here. I know. I just thought she's not answering her phone, and I'm worried. About? A pause. You haven't heard? Heard what? About Logan's party tomorrow. He's bringing Natasha, his ex. They're apparently back together. How is that my problem? It's not. Look, Amelia's been struggling. The job's not going well. Logan's been awful. I told her to keep her chin up, play the game, but what? But I think the game's over, and she's the only one who doesn't know it. I hung up on her. Not proud of it, but Aria had enabled this mess from day one. Follow your bliss, she'd probably said. You deserve happiness. Friday night, I was helping Caleb with his solar system project when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Amelia, dressed for a party that didn't want her. Please, she said when I opened the door. I just need 5 minutes. She looked expensive and desperate black cocktail dress, professionally styled hair, eyes red despite perfect makeup. Where are the kids? Caleb's upstairs. Sophie's at a sleepover. Can I see him? It's not your night. I know, She swayed slightly. I went to Logan's building. The doorman said I wasn't on the list. I could see the party through the lobby windows. He was there with her. Natasha. Laughing. You've been drinking. I took a cab. She held up her phone like evidence. I'm not that far gone. Why are you here? Because I have nowhere else to go. The words came out broken. My sister thinks I'm an idiot. My parents are disappointed. My friends were really his friends. And you hate me. I don't hate you. You should. Yeah, I agreed. I should. We stood there, November wind whipping her careful hair. Somewhere down the street, normal people were living normal lives. I threw it all away, she said quietly. Everything. For a man who won't even put me on a guest list. Yes. He said I was too complicated, too much baggage. She laughed, sharp and bitter. The baggage being my children. Our children. Right. Our children. Who hate me now. They don't hate you. They're hurt and confused, but they don't hate you. Sophie won't even look at me. Sophie's protecting herself. She's 12. She's allowed. And you? She looked at me directly. Are you protecting yourself too? Every damn day. A car passed, headlights sweeping across her face. For a moment, I saw the girl I'd married scared, lost, making terrible choices but mine to protect. Then the light passed, and she was just the woman who'd broken us. You should go home, I said gently. That's not home. It's just where I sleep. Nevertheless. She nodded, pulled out her phone to call another cab. While we waited, she said, Logan's engaged. To Natasha. Has been the whole time, apparently. They had a fight last spring. He wanted to make her jealous. I was. She stopped, understanding dawning. I was never the main character. I was just a plot device in someone else's story. The cab pulled up. She walked to it, turned back. Mason, when it all falls apart, and it will you? Good night, Amelia. She got in the cab. I watched it disappear into the November darkness, then went inside to find Caleb on the stairs. Was that Mom? Yeah, buddy. Why didn't she come in? It's complicated. Everything's complicated now. Not everything. You still have school. I still make pancakes. Some things stay simple. But not Mom. No, I admitted. Not Mom. We went back to his solar system, gluing Jupiter into place while the real world spun on, complicated and unforgiving. Outside, November wind rattled the windows. Inside, we were warm and safe and incomplete. But we were here. We showed up for each other. That had to count for something. The call came the day before Thanksgiving. I was in the basement, teaching Sophie to use the power drill, her hands steady, safety goggles making her look like a young scientist. Let the tool do the work, I guided. Don't force it. Like life, she said, only half joking. That's when the landline rang. Nobody called the landline except telemarketers and family. I'll get it, Caleb thundered down the stairs. Then quieter. Dad? It's Aunt Harper. I set down the drill, met Sophie's knowing look. $5 says Mom did something stupid, she muttered. We don't bet on family pain. Since when? Harper's voice came through strained, like she was holding back tears or rage. Maybe both. Mason, I'm sorry to call, but Amelia, she needs help. What kind of help? She lost her job, and Logan officially ended things, and she's been drinking and— Harper, stop. Where is she? My apartment. She showed up at 3 a.m. drunk and crying. A pause. She wants to come home. This isn't her home anymore. Mason. Tell her to call her lawyer. We have a custody arrangement. She can see the kids per the schedule. That's cold. That's necessary. She's falling apart. I looked at Sophie, still wearing safety goggles, pretending not to listen. At Caleb, hovering in the doorway, Dinosaur clutched in one hand. Then help her pull herself together. That's what sisters do. But she can't come here. You're really going to turn your back? She turned first, Harper. I'm just maintaining the direction. I hung up. Not proud of the harshness, but the kids needed to see boundaries held. Is Mom okay? Caleb asked. She's having a hard time, but Aunt Harper's taking care of her. Why can't she come here? Sophie pulled off her goggles. Because she chose to leave, dummy. You can't just come back because your new life sucks. Sophie. What? It's true? She turned back to the wood. Can we finish this? I want to give it to Grandpa for Christmas. We worked in silence, the drill's whine covering whatever thoughts spun in their heads. But I could feel the questions building, the confusion growing. Their mother was drowning and I was standing on shore, life preserver locked in the garage. Thanksgiving arrived gray and dreary. We went to Dad's, where Mom had cooked enough food for an army. The usual suspects gathered aunts, uncles, cousins, plus a few VFW buddies with nowhere else to go. Where's Amelia? Cousin Linda asked during grace. Not here, Dad said firmly. Now bow your heads. The blessing was longer than usual, including thanks for family present and prayers for those absent. Caleb's hand found mine under the table, squeezed tight. Dinner conversation carefully avoided the obvious gap. We talked about the weather, the football game, anything but the empty chair nobody had set. Sophie helped Mom serve pie, chatting about school projects. Caleb showed off his completed solar system to appreciative relatives. Normal. We were all so committed to normal. After dinner, I found Mom in the kitchen, washing dishes with mechanical precision. She called, Mom said without preamble. Wanted to know if she could come. What did you tell her? That she made her choices. Mom scrubbed a pot harder than necessary. But Mason, she sounded— I know how she sounded. Do you? Because that girl was broken. Whatever happened with that man, it broke something fundamental. She broke us first. Mom turned off the water, faced me. I'm not saying take her back. I'm saying maybe consider Grace. Grace? For the kids. They need to see you can be strong and kind, that boundaries don't require cruelty. I haven't been cruel. Haven't been particularly merciful either. Before I could respond, Dad appeared. Sophie's looking for you. Something about pie selection strategy? I left them to their whispered conference. Found Sophie indeed strategizing between pumpkin and pecan. We spent the rest of the evening in the safe harbor of family chaos, carefully not mentioning the person who wasn't there. Friday brought an email from Amelia's father. Formal, disappointed, direct. Mason, we need to discuss the children's winter break. Amelia is in no condition to have them overnight. We'd like to propose they spend some time with us instead. We'll handle pickup and return. The current situation is untenable. Something needs to change. Richard I called Levi immediately. Grandparent visitation? He sounded intrigued. That's actually not a bad solution. Keeps the kids connected to her family without putting them in an unstable situation. Is she really that bad? I've been talking to her lawyer. She's living on credit cards, couch surfing between Harper and some college friend. Logan didn't just dump her, he got her fired, claimed conflict of interest with client relationships. Jesus. Yeah, classic DC power play. Use them, lose them, destroy their career for good measure. He paused. You still have that promotion locked in? Starting January. Good. Document everything. The stability contrast is going to matter in mediation. That weekend's visitation didn't happen. Amelia called Saturday morning, voice thick. I can't today. I'm not well. Sick? Something like that. A laugh that sounded like crying. Can you tell them I love them? They know. Do they? Because I'm not sure anymore. Amelia. I know. I know I did this. I know it's my fault. I just didn't think it would hurt this much. The kids need consistency. Either show up or don't, but stop the maybe. You're right. Tell them. She paused. Tell them I'm sick. That's easier than the truth. Which is? That I'm a fool who threw away gold for glitter. She hung up before I could respond. I found the kids in the living room, Sophie reading while Caleb played with Legos. Mom's not feeling well, I said. We'll do something fun instead. Is she sick? Caleb asked. Sophie looked up from her book. She's heartbroken. That's a kind of sick. How do you know? Because I'm not stupid. She went back to reading. Can we go to the movies? We spent the day at the mall, movie, lunch, arcade. Normal Saturday stuff for a family missing a quarter of itself. Caleb won a stuffed bear at skee-ball, promptly named it Logan, then threw it in the trash. Why'd you do that? I asked. It was ugly, he said simply, and I didn't want it anymore. Kid had a point. Sunday brought another call, this time from Richard himself. We'd always had a cordial relationship. He was a retired federal judge, practical and fair. Mason, I think we need to talk, in person. We met at a Starbucks in Bethesda, neutral ground. He looked older, gray suit impeccable, but shoulders bent with weight. She's staying with us now, he opened without preamble. Martha insisted after finding her. Well, after Friday. Finding her how? Drunk, crying, talking about how she'd ruined everything. He stirred his coffee mechanically. She's not well, Mason. Whatever that man did to her, she did to herself. Yes and no. He met my eyes. She made terrible choices, but he played her masterfully, made promises, isolated her, then discarded her like trash. Classic manipulation. That's not my problem anymore. No, but the children are. They need their mother functional even if the marriage is over. What do you want from me? Time. Let her get treatment, get stable. We'll supervise visits, but don't push for full custody yet. Give her a chance to climb out of this hole. She dug the hole. Yes, but your children are watching how you handle someone who's fallen. He leaned forward. I sat on the bench for 30 years, saw every kind of family destruction. The kids who do best, their parents managed to be decent even when they had every reason not to be. I've been decent. I haven't badmouthed her, haven't prevented visits. You've been correct. There's a difference between correct and kind. We sat in silence, watching suburban families navigate Sunday morning caffeine rituals. What kind of treatment? I asked finally. Therapy. Maybe outpatient rehab. The drinking got worse after Logan. He rubbed his face. She keeps saying she wishes she could take it back. The whole thing. She can't. I know. She knows. But the wishing is eating her alive. I'll think about it. Extended visitation with you both. But she has to be stable. Fair enough? He stood, then paused. Mason? For what it's worth, I told her she was making a mistake. Martha, too. But she was so sure she was choosing happiness. How'd that work out? About as well as choosing happiness over family ever does. That evening, I sat the kids down for a family meeting. They looked serious. Sophie with a notebook like she might take minutes. Your grandparents want you to spend some time with them over winter break, I started. Your mom would be there too. Is she better? Caleb asked. She's working on it. What's wrong with her? Sophie's question came sharp. She's sad about the choices she made, and that sadness is making it hard for her to be the mom you need right now. So we're supposed to make her feel better? No. You're supposed to spend time with grandparents who love you. If seeing you helps your mom, that's extra. But your job is just to be kids. I don't want to go, Sophie said quietly. Why not? Because she'll cry and apologize and make everything weird and sad. Maybe. Or maybe she'll just be happy to see you. When has she been happy lately? Another point I couldn't argue. Can we think about it? Caleb asked. Of course. No pressure. Your choice. They went to bed thoughtful, processing in their different ways. I sat in my chair, just mine now, and wondered about grace versus boundaries, kindness versus enabling. My phone buzzed. Harper. Thank you for talking to Dad. Mom says maybe Christmas week? If the kids agree, how are they? Surviving. Growing. Missing pieces, but moving forward. She misses them terribly. Then she should have stayed. That's cruel. That's cause and effect. No response after that. I sat in the darkness, listening to the house settle. Somewhere across town, Amelia was learning what I'd known all along. You can't trade a life for a feeling. Feelings change. Consequences don't. But Richard was right about one thing. The kids were watching. How I handled their broken mother would teach them about strength, boundaries, and maybe if I could manage it, grace. I just had to figure out what grace looked like when trust was gone, and love had curdled into something complicated. Tomorrow, I decided. Tomorrow I'd think about grace. Tonight, I just needed to keep us safe. The knock came at 7:47 on a Thursday evening in December. Not the doorbell knuckles on wood, hesitant but persistent. I knew before I looked. Through the peephole, Amelia, thinner than I remembered, wearing a coat I'd bought her 3 Christmases ago. Behind me, Evelyn's voice drifted from the kitchen where she was helping Sophie with a science project about ecosystems. Caleb was upstairs, supposedly doing homework but probably playing Game Boy. I opened the door but didn't step aside. You need to call first. I did call. You didn't answer. Then you need to call during reasonable hours and leave a message. Mason, please, it's freezing. She hugged herself and I noticed her hands shaking. From cold or something else, I couldn't tell. Didn't want to tell. What do you want, Amelia? To see my children, to talk to you, too. She gestured vaguely at the house behind me, the life she'd walked away from. To come home. This isn't your home. It was for 15 years. Was. Past tense. Your choice. From the kitchen, Sophie's voice. Dad? Who's at the door? Nobody. I called back. Be right there. Amelia flinched. Nobody. That's what I am now? On Thursday at 7:47 without calling? Yes. Can I at least see them? Just for a minute? You have a visitation schedule. Every other Saturday. Alternate Wednesdays. Your parents have been handling pickups. They're right inside, with homework and stability and a routine that doesn't include surprise visits from someone who... I stopped myself. Don't poison the well, Levi always said. Let the facts speak. Someone who what? Her voice went sharp. Go ahead, say it. Someone who needs to respect boundaries. Please schedule through your lawyer. I started to close the door. She put her hand out, not quite touching it. I've been sober for 3 weeks, she said quickly. Going to meetings. Got a job receptionist at a dental office in Rockville. I'm trying, Mason. Good. Keep trying. Away from here. That's cruel. That's necessary. Evelyn appeared behind me, dish towel in hand. Everything okay? Fine, Amelia was just leaving. The two women looked at each other, the one who stayed to help, the one who left for fantasy. Evelyn's expression was carefully neutral, but Amelia saw something there that made her step back. Right. I'll call the lawyer. She looked past me one more time, maybe hoping to see the kids. Tell them I love them? They know. Do they? I closed the door on the question. Back in the kitchen, Sophie didn't look up from her poster board. That was Mom. Not a question. A statement. Yes. What did she want? To visit. Without calling first? Yes. Sophie carefully glued a picture of a fox hunting a rabbit. Predator and prey, clearly labeled. That's not how custody works. No, it's not. Evelyn gathered her things quietly. I should go. Let you all process. Stay, Sophie said firmly. You were helping. She was interrupting. Kid had a point. We worked on the ecosystem project for another hour, cutting, gluing, labeling. Caleb wandered down eventually, took in the scene. Was someone at the door earlier? Mom, Sophie answered before I could. Dad sent her away. Why? Because she didn't call first, and it's not her day, and she can't just show up whenever she feels like it. Oh. He processed this with 9-year-old logic. That makes sense. Can I have cookies? Normal. We were all so committed to normal. Later, after Evelyn left and the kids were in bed, I found myself in the workshop staring at nothing. The birdhouse Caleb and I had built sat finished on the shelf. Next to it, the jewelry box waited for Sophie's birthday in February. Physical proof that we were still building things, still moving forward. My phone buzzed. Harper. She came by, didn't she? Yes, she's trying, Mason, I know. Then why? Because trying doesn't erase choosing, that's harsh. That's math. Cause and effect. The kids need their mother. The kids need stability more. You're going to regret this. I regret a lot of things. This isn't one of them. Saturday came with the usual routine. Richard arrived at 9:55 to pick up the kids. Amelia waited in the back seat of his Volvo, visible but distant. Sophie walked out with her weekend bag and a book, barely glancing at the car. Caleb dragged his feet but went. Have fun, I said. Be good, I added. Love you, I finished. Love you too, Dad. Caleb waved. Sophie just walked. That evening they came back early, 5:30 instead of 8. Richard walked them to the door while Amelia stayed in the car. There was an incident, he said quietly while the kids went inside. What kind of incident? She took them to lunch at that pizza place they used to love. Sophie refused to eat. When Amelia asked why, Sophie said, and I quote, I don't want to pretend we're a happy family when we're not. Jesus. It got worse. Amelia started crying. In the restaurant. Caleb got upset. Sophie got angry. Other families were staring. He rubbed his forehead. I had to go get them. Where was she during this? In the bathroom, having what I believe they call a panic attack. His judicial composure cracked slightly. She's not ready for this, Mason. She's sober. She's trying, but she's not ready. What do you want me to do? Give us more time. Let her see them at our house, supervised. No public outings. Build back slowly. If the kids agree. They'll agree. They love her, even if they're angry. Love and trust are different things. Yes, he said heavily. They are. After he left, I found the kids in the living room. Sophie was reading aggressively. Caleb was building with Legos, movements sharp and angry. Want to talk about it? No, Sophie said. She cried, Caleb said. In front of everyone, it was embarrassing. I'm sorry that happened. She kept saying she was sorry, over and over, like saying it enough would fix things. Sophie turned a page hard enough to wrinkle it. It doesn't fix things. No, it doesn't. Then why does she keep trying? Because she doesn't know what else to do. She could have just not left, Caleb pointed out. That would have been easier. From the mouths of babes. That night Elijah called. Heard there was some drama today. News travels. Richard called, wanted my advice. He paused. You know what I told him? What? That my son's doing the right thing. That boundaries aren't walls, they're load-bearing beams. Take 'em out too soon and the whole structure collapses. Thanks, Dad. But Mason, the kids are watching how you handle this. Make sure what they're learning is what you want to teach. After I hung up, I sat in the dark living room thinking about that. What was I teaching them? That actions have consequences, that you can't unbreak trust? That showing up matters more than showing emotion? All true. But was truth enough? Tuesday morning brought a letter. Actual mail, her handwriting on cream stationery, 5 pages of apology and regret and what-ifs. I read it once, then filed it in the divorce folder. Evidence, not absolution. The key paragraphs jumped out. I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness. I destroyed our family for an illusion. Logan never loved me. He loved having power over someone. And I was so desperate to feel special that I couldn't see I already was. You made me feel special every day in 1,000 small ways, and I threw it away for someone who made me feel special in one big, false way. I see you with the kids now, how steady you are, how you've held everything together. I see Evelyn helping with homework and neighbors bringing casseroles and your father teaching them life skills. I see the community I chose to leave, and it breaks me. I don't expect you to take me back. I know that bridge is ash. But please, let me rebuild something with the children. Not the family we were, but something. Anything. They deserve a mother, even a flawed one. All my love, which means nothing now. Amelia. I thought about showing it to the kids. Decided against it. They didn't need her written emotions. They needed her consistent actions. Wednesday came her scheduled day. Richard picked them up, brought them to their house where Amelia waited under supervision. They came back quieter but not upset. How was it? I asked. Fine, Sophie said. We played Monopoly. She let me be the banker. She made cookies, Caleb added. The kind with M&Ms. Did she cry? No, Sophie said and seemed surprised by it. She was almost normal, except she kept asking if we were having fun, like every 5 minutes. But you did? Have fun? They exchanged glances, some sibling communication I couldn't decode. It was okay, Sophie decided. Not fun, but okay. Progress, of a sort. That night Martha called. Amelia's mother had always been the pragmatic one. Mason, I want to thank you. For what? For holding firm. Richard thinks you're being too harsh, but I understand. She needs to hit bottom before she can climb up. Has she? Getting there. The job helps. The meetings help. But mostly, I think losing the children really losing them. Seeing them pull away, that's what's finally getting through. I'm not trying to punish her. I know. You're trying to protect them. That's what a parent does. She paused. I failed at that. I protected her too much, made excuses, enabled her fantasy. Follow your heart, I said. Stupid advice. Hearts lie sometimes. Yes, they do. Her voice went firm. But the brain, the commitment, the choice to show up every day, that's what lasts. You've proven that. The children see it. I hope so. They do. Sophie told me you're her hero. Not in those words, she said you were like Batman, but with spreadsheets instead of gadgets. But I knew what she meant. I laughed despite everything. Batman with spreadsheets. I'll take it. You should. It's high praise from a 12-year-old. Thursday afternoon, I was reviewing code when Theo knocked. There's someone in the lobby asking for you. Who? Blonde, professional looking, desperate acting. Amelia, I sighed. Tell her I'm in a meeting. Already did. She says she'll wait. Then let her wait. But I couldn't concentrate, knowing she was down there. After an hour, I went down. She was sitting in the uncomfortable lobby chairs, reading a paperback. This is my workplace, I said without preamble. She stood quickly. I know. I'm sorry. Your father had a heart episode. The world tilted. What? He's fine, she said quickly. Mild arrhythmia. He's at Georgetown Hospital for observation. Your mother called me because she couldn't reach you. I checked my phone. 6 missed calls. I'd had it on silent for a presentation. Why did she call you? I'm still on his emergency contact list. She held out a post-it with room information. He's in cardiac unit room 344. Your mother's with him. I took the paper, careful not to let our fingers touch. Thank you for letting me know. Mason, I need to go. Of course, Is there anything I can do? Pick up the kids? Bring food? No, we've got it covered. Right, of course you do. She smiled sadly. You always do. I left her in the lobby, called Evelyn from the car. Already on it, she said before I could ask. Theo called me. I'll get the kids from school, take them to my house. Go be with your dad. Community. Real community. Not the kind you perform at gallery openings, but the kind that shows up. At the hospital, Dad was holding court from his bed, telling the nurses about his service record. Mom sat beside him, knitting with aggressive calm. About time, Dad said when he saw me. Tell these people I don't need to stay overnight. He needs to stay overnight, the nurse said firmly. Traitor, Dad muttered, but he was smiling. I sat with them until visiting hours ended, then drove home through December darkness. The kids were in my kitchen with Evelyn, doing homework and eating mac and cheese. Is Grandpa okay? Caleb asked immediately. He's fine. Just needs to rest. Mom came by, Sophie said carefully. Evelyn didn't let her in. I looked at Evelyn, who shrugged. She didn't call first. Rules are rules. What did she want? To help, she said. I told her we had it handled. Evelyn started gathering her things. There's a casserole in the fridge for tomorrow. Evelyn, I don't know how to thank. Then don't. This is what we do. She squeezed my shoulder on her way out. Let me know if you need anything tomorrow. After she left, Sophie said, Mom looked sad. People look sad sometimes. She looked really sad, like crying in her car sad. That's not our job to fix. I know. She went back to her homework. It's still sad, though. Yeah, I agreed. It is. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Amelia in the lobby, in her car, trying to help and being turned away. About the letter filed with divorce papers. About the kids learning to build walls. Maybe Elijah was right. Maybe they were watching what I taught. Maybe I needed to figure out if what I was teaching was strength or just stubbornness dressed up as principle. But not tonight. Tonight I just needed to keep us safe, stable, moving forward. Tomorrow could bring its own lessons. January arrived with an ice storm that shut down D.C. for 3 days. The kids and I spent it building blanket forts, playing board games, and perfecting hot chocolate recipes. Normal snow day stuff except for the manila envelope that arrived by courier on day 2. Final hearing, January 28, 2002. Stamped across the top. What's that? Caleb asked, marshmallow foam on his upper lip. Paperwork. The divorce? Sophie didn't look up from her book. Yes. Finally, she muttered. I tucked the envelope away, went back to Monopoly. But the date loomed 3 weeks to legally end 20 years. Levi called that evening after the kids were in bed. You ready for this? Define ready. She's agreed to everything. Primary custody to you, child support based on her new income, no alimony request. Clean and simple. Too simple. What's the catch? No catch. Her lawyer says she wants it over. Quick and quiet. He paused. Mason, she's broken. I've been doing this 15 years. I know what defeat looks like. She's not fighting because there's nothing left to fight for. Good. Is it? Yes. But lying in bed that night, I wondered. Victory was supposed to feel better than this. The weeks passed in preparation. Documentation gathered, witnesses lined up, arrangements made for the kids. Dad insisted on coming, still pale from his hospital stay, but stubborn as ever. You need family there, he said. It's just paperwork. No, son. It's a funeral, and you don't go to funerals alone. The morning of the 28th dawned bright and bitter cold. I dressed carefully, suit and tie, professional but not aggressive. Sophie hugged me at breakfast. It'll be okay, Dad. I know. I mean it. After today, it's really over. We can stop waiting for her to come back. She's still your mother, Soph. This doesn't change that. No, but it changes everything else. She shouldered her backpack. That's good. When had my daughter become so wise and so hard? The courthouse in Rockville buzzed with Monday morning divorces. Levi met me at security, Dad right behind. She's already here, Levi said. Conference room 2. Her parents, too. The kids? Not allowed in. You know that. I did. Still had to ask. The conference room smelled like old coffee and broken promises. Amelia sat at the far end of the table, her lawyer beside her. She'd lost more weight, professional outfit hanging loose. Her parents flanked her like bookends, holding up something broken. Mason, Richard nodded. Martha managed a smile. Amelia didn't look up. Judge Henley entered a small woman with sharp eyes who'd seen every variation of family destruction. Let's make this simple, she began. I've reviewed the settlement. Primary physical custody to Mr. Brooks. Joint legal custody maintained. Child support set at state guidelines based on Ms. Brooks' current income. Visitation schedule as agreed every other weekend, alternate Wednesdays, rotating holidays. She looked at Amelia. Ms. Brooks, you understand you're waiving any claim to alimony? Yes. Barely a whisper. And Mr. Brooks, you're accepting the proposed asset division? The house remains yours, retirement account split per the QDRO, personal property is already distributed? Yes, Your Honor. Any objections to the custody arrangement? No, ma'am, I said. Amelia shook her head. Very well. Judge Henley shuffled papers. I want to note for the record that I see a lot of divorces. Most are messy, vindictive, more about revenge than resolution. This one. She looked at me. Mr. Brooks, your restraint throughout these proceedings has been notable. No harassment, no parental alienation, no financial manipulation. Just consistent focus on the children's well-being. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank yourself? And Ms. Brooks? Amelia finally looked up. The court recognizes you're going through a difficult time, but your agreement to this custody arrangement, your commitment to rebuilding relationships with your children that takes courage. Don't waste it. I won't, Amelia managed. See that you don't. The judge signed papers with efficient strokes. The divorce is granted. The marriage of Mason and Amelia Brooks is dissolved. Court is adjourned. That was it. 20 years ended with a signature. Outside the courtroom, the two families stood awkwardly. What do you say after a funeral where everyone's still alive? Mason, Amelia finally spoke. Can we talk? Just for a minute? I looked at Levi, who shrugged. Your call. 2 minutes. We walked to a bench by the windows. January sun threw harsh light on her face, showing every line, every sleepless night. I know I have no right to ask anything, she started, but I need you to know I'm getting better. The job, the meetings, therapy twice a week. I'm becoming someone the kids can maybe respect again. That's good. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know that bridge is gone, but maybe we can build something new. Not us, I know there's no us, but as co-parents, for them. We'll see. That's more than I deserve. She stood, smoothed her skirt. I'll follow the visitation schedule exactly. No surprise visits, no drama, just showing up when I'm supposed to. That would be good. Okay. She walked away, turned back. Mason, thank you for not destroying me in there. You could have. That wouldn't have helped the kids. No, but it might have felt good. Feeling good and doing good are different things. Yeah, she said softly. I'm learning that. She walked back to her parents, who wrapped her in careful hugs. They left together, a small, broken unit. You okay? Dad appeared beside me. I don't know. That's honest. He gripped my shoulder. Come on, let's get lunch. Divorce makes me hungry. We ate at a diner that had seen better decades. Chrome and vinyl and coffee strong enough to strip paint. Perfect. You did good in there, Dad said over his burger. Didn't feel good. Right things rarely do. He salted his fries methodically. Your mother and I separated once. Did you know that? I nearly choked on my coffee. What? 1975. I came back from Vietnam different, angry, drinking. She took you to her mother's for 3 months. I don't remember that. You were 2. He smiled sadly. Point is, she could have divorced me. Had every right to. Instead, she said I had 3 months to get my shit together. Get help or get gone. And I got help. VA counseling, AA meetings, learned to live with what I'd seen, what I'd done. He met my eyes. Sometimes people break, son. Question is whether they try to fix themselves or expect everyone else to live with the pieces. Amelia's trying. Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. But you gave her the chance to try without destroying her. That's something. That evening, I told the kids it was done. Official, legal, over. So she's not Mrs. Brooks anymore? Caleb asked. She can keep the name if she wants, but we're not married. Good, Sophie said firmly. Now can we stop talking about it? Yes. Forever? If that's what you want. It is. But Caleb looked thoughtful. Does this mean she stops being our mom? No, buddy. Divorce ends marriage, not parenthood. She's your mom forever. Even if we don't want her to be? Even then. But you get to decide what kind of relationship you have with her. Both of you. They processed this in their different ways, Sophie returning to homework, Caleb building with Legos. Normal evening, except for the papers in my office declaring us legally fractured. That night, Evelyn brought wine. Figured you could use this. We sat on the back porch despite the cold, watching stars appear between clouds. How does it feel? She asked. Like a tooth extraction, painful but necessary. Now just waiting for the hole to close. Poetic. I have my moments. We drank in comfortable silence. Then she said, the kids seem okay. They're relieved it's over. Sophie especially. And you? I thought about it. I'm ready for whatever comes next. Building instead of tearing down. That's healthy. She raised her glass. To building. To building. Wednesday came Amelia's first official post-divorce visitation. She arrived exactly on time in her father's Volvo, got out, walked to the door, rang the bell, following every rule. Hi, she said when I answered. Hi, kids. They came with their homework bags. Sophie polite but distant, Caleb warming slightly. We're making pizzas at Grandma's, Amelia said. From scratch. That okay? Have fun, I said, then caught myself. I mean, I know what you mean. She almost smiled. 6 o'clock return? Yes. They left my children with their mother, who wasn't my wife. Strange new mathematics. At 5:58, headlights in the driveway. The kids came in talking about dough-tossing disasters. Mom dropped the whole thing, Caleb laughed. Splat on the floor. But we made another one, Sophie added. It was actually fun. Good. She didn't cry, Sophie said quietly. Not once. Also good. Yeah. She headed upstairs. It was. Progress. Slow, careful, but progress. That weekend, I cleaned out the filing cabinet, marriage certificate, wedding photos, cards from anniversaries, all of it into a box marked previous life. Not thrown away, but archived. History that happened to other people. In its place, custody agreements, visitation schedules, school records, the paperwork of moving forward. The kids helped, bringing things they'd found in their rooms. Mom's old perfume. Sophie held up the bottle. Under the bathroom sink. Her Yankees cap, Caleb added. In my closet. Into the box it all went. A respectful burial for a life that no longer fit. Done? I asked when the box was full. Done, they agreed. I taped it shut, carried it to the basement storage room. Someday they might want to look, to understand who we all were before, but not today. Today was for building new things. Who wants to help me make dinner? I asked. Me. Caleb raised his hand. Can we make tacos? Sophie asked. The kind where we all build our own? Perfect, I said. And it was. Imperfect and messy, and exactly what we needed. The three of us in our kitchen, building something together, one small choice at a time. The legal finish wasn't an ending, I realized. It was permission to begin. March came in like a lamb that year, unusual for D.C. Cherry blossoms bloomed early, drawing tourists who clogged the metro and reminded us that beauty still existed, still drew people together. I was under the kitchen sink, teaching Sophie to snake a drain, when she said it. I think we're okay now. Yeah? I handed her the plumber's snake. Feel for resistance, then turn slowly. I mean it. We're like normal, but our version of normal. She worked the snake carefully. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Got it. She pulled out a clump of hair and unidentifiable gunk. Gross. But fixed. But fixed, she agreed. That had become our rhythm: small fixes, minor repairs, building competence one skill at a time. Caleb could now change a bike tire, check oil, hammer a nail straight. Sophie could use power tools, balance a checkbook, cook 5 different meals from scratch. Life skills their mother never taught because she'd been waiting for something better to come along. "Dad?" Caleb appeared in the doorway. "Can Evan come over? His mom wants to know." "Sure. Pizza night? Can we make it instead of ordering?" "If you help." "Deal!" They thundered upstairs, and I felt it again, that strange lightness that had been growing since January. Not happiness exactly, but the absence of dread. No more waiting for the other shoe to drop because all the shoes had fallen. Saturday morning meant farmer's market, our new tradition. The kids had allowance now my promotion had made that possible, and they spent it carefully on honey sticks and fresh bread. "Mr. Brooks," Maria from the vegetable stand waved us over. "Beautiful morning." "The best," I agreed, meaning it. "No Mrs. Brooks today?" "Flying solo," I said easily. The questions had stopped stinging months ago. We loaded up on produce, Sophie calculating prices in her head, Caleb charming free samples from vendors. Normal Saturday stuff, except I caught myself smiling at nothing. "You look happy," Sophie observed. "I am. Like, really happy, not pretend happy." "Is there a difference?" "You know there is." I did. The pretend happy I'd worn for years versus this lighter, easier, real. That afternoon, Evelyn and I walked the neighborhood while the kids played basketball in the driveway. Our Saturday walks had become ritual, neither of us acknowledging how they'd evolved from crisis management to something else. "Heard from Levi yesterday," I mentioned. "Final payment came through. She's current on support." "That's good." "Yeah, means she's keeping the job, staying stable. The kids seem better with her. Wednesday she taught them card games. Sophie actually laughed." Progress. Evelyn stopped to admire a neighbor's garden. "Speaking of progress." "Yeah? Tom asked me out, from the VFW. My stomach did something unexpected. "Oh. Yeah. Oh." She started walking again. I said I'd think about it. "You should go." "Should I?" "If you want to." "Right, if I want to." She glanced at me sideways. "Mason, are we ever going to talk about this?" "About what?" "You know what?" I did. The way we'd drifted from neighbors to friends to whatever this was, walking together, sharing meals, her toothbrush appearing in my bathroom without discussion. "The kids," I started, "love me already, and I love them." She stopped walking, faced me. "But that's not what I'm asking." "I know." "So?" "So I'm scared," I admitted. "Of ruining this, of the kids getting hurt, of being the guy who moved on too fast. It's been almost a year, and I'm not trying to replace anyone." She touched my arm. "I'm just here, if you want me to be." "I do. But slowly? Carefully? No grand gestures or sudden moves?" "Mason Brooks, have you ever known me to make grand gestures?" "No." "Then we're good," she smiled. "But I'm telling Tom no." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do, because Saturday walks mean something, even if we're not ready to say what." We walked home in comfortable silence, finding the kids washing my truck in the driveway, Caleb with the hose, Sophie with a sponge, both soaked and laughing. "We're helping," Caleb announced. "I see that." "Evelyn," Sophie grinned. "Caleb's being an idiot with the hose." "I'm washing the truck." "You're washing me." They dissolved into a water fight, and Evelyn laughed, bright and real, and nothing like the careful sounds that had filled this house for too long. "I should go," she said. "Let you all have your evening." "Stay for dinner," Sophie called, wringing out her shirt. "Dad's grilling." "Yeah," Caleb added, "and we made potato salad, only slightly poisoned." Evelyn looked at me. I nodded. "Then I'll stay." That evening felt like a glimpse of something. The 4 of us on the back deck, Caleb telling terrible jokes, Sophie groaning but laughing anyway, Evelyn fitting into our rhythms without trying to change them. "This is nice," Sophie said as we cleared plates. "Yeah," I agreed. Like, really nice. Normal nice. Our version of normal. The best version, she decided. After dinner, the kids disappeared inside for homework and video games. Evelyn and I sat on the deck, watching fireflies begin their seasonal dance. Thank you, I said. For what? For being patient, for showing up without pushing. I gestured at the evening, the life we were carefully building. For all of this, you're welcome. She stretched her legs out. But I should thank you too. For letting me. After Jeremy died, I forgot what it felt like to be part of something. You three reminded me. We're pretty memorable. The best kind of memorable. She left at 9, hugging both kids, squeezing my hand at the door, small gestures that meant everything. Dad? Sophie appeared as I locked up. Are you and Evelyn dating? We're figuring things out. Good. She makes you smile real smiles. Real smiles? Instead of the fake ones you did for Mom near the end. You notice those? I notice everything. She headed upstairs, paused. Dad? I'm glad we're us now. Just us plus whoever fits. Me too, kiddo. And Evelyn fits. Yeah, she does. Sunday brought the usual laundry, meal prep, homework, but also something new. Amelia called, following protocol, voice steady. Sophie's birthday is next month. I know. I'd like to do something special, not interfere with your plans, just something from me. Like what? Theater tickets? There's a matinee of The Lion King at the Kennedy Center. I could take her and a friend? I'll ask her. Really? Really, it's a good idea, Amelia. Oh. She sounded surprised. Thanks for considering it. Of course. Mason, are you okay? You sound different. I am different. We all are. Better different. Yeah, better different. I found Sophie reading in her room. Your mom wants to take you to The Lion King for your birthday. You and a friend. She looked up, considering. Which friend? Your choice. Can I think about it? Of course. And you wouldn't come? Not this time. This would be her gift to you. Okay. She went back to her book. I'll think about it. Progress. A year ago, she would have said no immediately. That week passed in ordinary glory. Work, where my team now looked to me for leadership I'd learned to provide. Home, where homework and dinner and bedtime stories, yes, Caleb still wanted them, created rhythm. Small repairs, a loose doorknob, a flickering light, things that could be fixed with attention and effort. You're humming, Theo noted Thursday over lunch. Am I? Yeah, it's weird. Good weird, but weird. Things are settling, finally. And Evelyn? Is wonderful. Are you going to? Slowly. We're going slowly. Smart. He stole one of my fries. But don't go so slow you miss it, man. Good things don't always wait. He had a point. Friday evening, I was in the workshop when Sophie appeared with a wrapped box. Early birthday present, she announced. Your birthday's next month. This is for yours, which I missed because of everything. I'd forgotten. My 40th had passed in October, unmarked except for a card from the kids and dinner at Dad's. Open it, she insisted. Inside, a leather journal, Dad embossed on the cover. For your thoughts, she explained. Or lists. You love lists. It's perfect. Really? Really. Thank you. She hugged me, fierce and quick. I love you, Dad. Love you too. And I'm glad you're happy, like actually happy. Me too. She left me with the journal. I ran my fingers over the leather, thinking about what to write. Finally, I opened to the first page. March 15th, 2002. Things that are true. My kids are healing. My ex-wife is trying. My job is good. My father is healthy. My neighbor might be something more I am learning to build instead of just repair. This is enough. More than enough. It's everything. I closed the journal. Went upstairs to find Caleb building Legos while Sophie read. Normal Friday night in our version of normal. Movie? I suggested. Can Evelyn come? Caleb asked without looking up. If she's free. She's always free for us, Sophie said with teenage certainty. She was right. Evelyn arrived with popcorn and junior mints, settling onto the couch like she belonged there, which she did. As the movie played, I looked around at my kids laughing, at the woman who'd helped us heal, at the walls that held steady through the storm. Not the life I'd planned. Something quieter, smaller, infinitely better. The dawn of a new day built one small moment at a time, 1 year later. The April sun warmed our backs as we planted the oak sapling, its roots ready for DC soil. Sophie worked the shovel while Caleb held the tree steady. I mixed compost into the hole, making sure everything was right for growth. Deeper? Sophie asked. Perfect, just like that. The backyard had transformed since last spring. New flower beds along the fence, a vegetable garden Caleb tended religiously, the grass finally thick and green after years of complaint. But this tree was special, a marker of making it through. Why an oak? Caleb asked, patting soil around the base. They last, I said. 100 years, maybe more. Long after we're gone, this tree will remember today. That's deep, Dad. Sophie rolled her eyes but smiled. I have my moments. Evelyn appeared with water for the sapling. She'd kept her house but spent most evenings here, our lives weaving together carefully, purposefully. The kids had stopped asking when she'd officially move in, understanding some things didn't need labels. Looking good, she said, helping Caleb water the roots. Everything's looking good, Sophie observed, surveying our work. She was right. The house that had felt empty now felt full not of stuff but of life. Pictures covered the walls again, new ones. The kids at the beach last summer, Dad teaching Caleb to tie fishing flies, Evelyn and Sophie at her 13th birthday dinner, life moving forward. Can we have a cookout tonight? Caleb asked. To celebrate? Celebrate what? Saturday, spring, our tree, he grinned. Being us. I'll call Grandpa, Sophie offered, already heading inside. That's how it started, a simple Saturday cookout that somehow became larger. Dad arrived with his famous cornbread. Mom brought potato salad. Theo and his wife came with their new baby. Luca closed the bar early to stop by. Even Amelia's parents, Richard and Martha, joined us, their presence no longer complicated. This is nice, Martha said, helping me arrange chairs. Really nice, Mason. Thanks. I mean it. What you've built here, after everything, it's beautiful. I looked around the yard. Kids running with neighbors' children. Dad at the grill telling war stories. Evelyn laughing at something Theo's wife said. Community. Real. Earned. Lasting. We all built it, I said. But you held the foundation. She touched my arm. Thank you. For letting us still be part of it. The sun set slowly, painting the sky in pastels. I found myself by the new oak, checking its supports. Proud of that tree? Dad appeared beside me, beer in hand. Proud of all of it. You should be. He took a long drink. You know what I see when I look at this? What? A man who faced the worst thing and built something better. Not many can do that. I had help. Sure, but you had to accept it. That's harder than it sounds. He nodded toward the house, where Sophie was teaching Evelyn some TikTok dance. She's good for you all. The best. So when you making it official? Dad, I'm old, son. Like to see things settled while I can enjoy them. Noted. Good. He headed back to the grill. Now come help me with these burgers before Caleb eats all the chips. Later, as darkness fell and people started leaving, I stood washing dishes. Through the window, I could see our reflection, me at the sink, Evelyn drying, kids clearing the table. Ordinary domestic life, extraordinary in its simplicity. Penny for them? Evelyn asked. Just thinking. About? About how different this is from what I planned. Disappointed? The opposite. I handed her another plate. I planned perfect. This is better. Because it's real? Because we chose it. Every day, we choose it. She leaned against me, comfortable and right. Speaking of choosing. Yeah? Sophie asked me something earlier about the future. What about it? Whether I was planning to stick around. What did you tell her? That I already had. Just wondered if you'd noticed. I turned off the water, faced her. I've noticed. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Promise. The kids burst in, ending the moment. Mom texted, Sophie announced, neutral as always when mentioning her mother. She wants to know if we're still on for brunch tomorrow. Are we? I asked. Sophie and Caleb exchanged looks. I guess, Sophie decided. She's been better lately. Yeah, Caleb agreed. Less weird, more like normal mom. Normal mom. 2 years ago, those words would have been impossible. Then yes, you're on for brunch. They headed upstairs, leaving Evelyn and me alone again. That's progress, she noted. Major progress. Last month, they actually enjoyed their weekend with her. How do you feel about that? Grateful. They deserve a mother who shows up. And you deserve peace about it. I have that. Finally. We finished the dishes in comfortable quiet, then joined the kids for our Saturday night ritual popcorn and a movie. All 4 of us piled on the couch. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. Amelia, thank you for letting me take them tomorrow, and for everything. I know I can never make it right, but I can try to make it better. I showed Evelyn, who nodded. You should write back. Just keep showing up. That's all they need. I will. Promise. I put the phone away, pulled my family closer. Outside, spring rain began to fall, watering our new tree. Monday morning came crisp and bright. I dropped the kids at school, same routine but lighter somehow. At work, the promotion I'd earned through showing up had become leadership I'd grown into. My team respected steady competence over flash. Mason, my boss called me in. Got a minute? Sure. I'll cut to it. DOD wants to expand our contract, big expansion. They want you to head it up. Me? You. The guy who kept systems running when the world was falling apart. The one everyone trusts. He leaned back. It's a 2-year commitment, maybe 3. Significant raise. Interested? Can I think about it? Of course, but Mason, you've earned this. Not through politics or connections, just by being reliable when reliable mattered. That evening, I told the family over dinner. That's amazing, Sophie beamed. Dad, you have to take it. It's a big commitment. So, Caleb interrupted, you're good at commitment. He's right, Evelyn added. This is what you've worked for. We'd have to adjust schedules, maybe get extra help with pickups. We'll figure it out, Sophie said firmly. We always do. We, such a simple word carrying so much weight. Okay, I'll take it. Yes, Caleb pumped his fist. Can we get a pool? No. A hot tub? No. A bigger TV? Maybe. I'll take maybe. After dinner, I called Dad with the news. About damn time they recognized what they had, he said. Proud of you, son. Thanks. Your mother wants to throw a party. Small party. You know that's not happening. He was right. Mom's small parties had a way of expanding. That night I sat in my workshop, not building but thinking. The jewelry box I'd made Sophie sat on her dresser now, filled with treasures. The bookends held Caleb's growing library, physical proof that broken things could become whole, just different. My phone rang. Amelia. Sorry to call late, she started. But Sophie mentioned your promotion at brunch. Congratulations, Mason. Really. Thanks. You deserve it. You always were the steady one. I couldn't see it then. We see what we're ready to see. Yeah. A pause. Can I tell you something? Okay. I drove by the house last week. Saw the gardens, the new tree. It looks beautiful. Like the home I was too restless to appreciate. Amelia. I'm not asking for anything. I know that door's closed. I just wanted you to know I finally understand what I threw away. Her voice stayed steady. And I'm glad, truly glad you built something better from the pieces. Thank you. Take care, Mason. Of yourself, the kids, Evelyn. You all deserve the happiness I see growing there. She hung up before I could respond. I sat with the phone, feeling something I hadn't expected, not anger or sadness, but a kind of closing. The final page of a chapter already ended. Spring moved into summer. The oak tree grew stronger, its roots deep and spreading. Sophie started high school, all teenage confidence and hidden vulnerability. Caleb discovered soccer, throwing himself into practices with infectious enthusiasm. And Evelyn? Evelyn just fit. No drama, no grand gestures, just presence and patience and the kind of love that grew from shared mornings and quiet evenings. "You know what today is?" she asked one August morning, both of us watching the kids play in the sprinkler. "Saturday? The day we met, 3 years ago. You were trying to fix your mower, cursing creatively. You offered to help. You were too proud to accept. Until you fixed it anyway. Someone had to." She leaned into me. "Best decision I ever made. Fixing my mower? Getting involved with the disaster next door. Hey, I wasn't that bad. You were perfect. Perfectly broken and perfectly ready to rebuild." She kissed my cheek. "Just needed the right tools. Lucky me. Lucky us." The kids ran over, soaking wet and laughing. "Can we have ice cream for breakfast?" Caleb asked hopefully. "No," Evelyn and I said in unison. "You guys are no fun," Sophie declared. "We're the perfect amount of fun," I corrected. "Whatever, Dad." But she was smiling as she said it. That evening we had another cookout. Smaller this time, just family and close friends. As the sun set, I found myself back at the oak tree with Dad. "It's thriving," he observed. "Everything is. Because you didn't try to recreate what was. You built something new." He clapped my shoulder. "That's the secret, son. The grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it." Fortune cookie wisdom. Life wisdom. Took me 70 years to learn it. Worth the wait? Everything good is. As darkness fell, I looked around my yard. My daughter helping Mom with dessert. My son showing Caleb soccer moves. Evelyn laughing with our friends. Not the life I'd planned, but the life I'd built, one choice at a time. Amelia had been wrong about one thing. She'd said she was choosing happiness when she left. But happiness wasn't something you chose once. It was something you built daily, in small moments and steady presence. The grass wasn't greener anywhere else. It was greenest right here, where we'd learned to tend it, and that was more than enough. It was everything. End. Hey, listeners of Lady Cheating Tales. If you love today's story, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more thrilling tales on the way, so don't miss out. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next story.